What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast episode 150. Man, it's been a ride. We've got a hell of a cast today, and I don't even know what the hell we're going to be talking about, so it should be a lot of fun. But you know who I got to start off with, and Dan, I don't know what you're doing with your name this week, man. Mr. Dan Rodriguez. He's been with us for years. Man. My partner in crime. What'd you say?
It's Hingle McCringleberry. You guys know Hingle McCringleberry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Key and Peele.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Carpatron, Duke Marriott.
Yeah.
You know,
There you go.
Man,
dolphin sound.
Oh, man.
What's going on, brother? At Aliciousness.
Yes, at Aliciousness. I'm good. I'm ready to go. Let's do this 150. I can't believe we're doing it. It's super weird. Like, you know, we're almost at 200. That's insane to me. I mean, I know I wasn't here for all of it, but I mean, like
most of it now.
Yeah, 100.
Yeah, you came in like episode 30 or 20 something. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, damn it.
So it's been years already, which is crazy. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, but anyway, let me go around the horn and introduce our panel here. I know everyone knows everyone here. We're regulars. Everyone's part of the same community, but we're going to do it anyway. So introducing my main man from Iron Lords podcast, Lohr Cognito. What's going on, brother?
The Seasoned Lords 150. Knew when you threw that up, I was coming in, man. Tremendous, great company. We got my man Dan in the building. EJ, I get that red EJ appearance. I'm liking that. And of course, my young bros, my bros right here. You know what I'm saying? I call them like the X-Men's future class. You know what I'm saying? Luke Lohr, and of course, Mr. Babbitt. This is family, man. Great group. And what a way to kind of celebrate 150 with you, man. Just have some fun, nostalgia, gaming, talking about gaming. What about that, right?
Yeah, that's about it, man. That's what it's all about. So we put Eric in the middle of Luke and Joe so they can stay focused. You know, he can break it up.
It's like trash. You gotta keep the kids apart, the bad kids apart.
I'm going to go around the horn here, but you know him as Insipid Ghost. He is Luke Lohr, host of the Xbox Expansion Pass. What is happening, my friend?
It is great to be here for episode 150. Congratulations, Ain and Dan. It is so good to see you two, Lord Cog and Eric. I'm so honored to be podcasting with you guys, specifically you guys. I just appreciate you guys having me on with this nearly fantastic cast of people. So thank you for letting me be here.
You can't hit them all. You know what I mean? Sometimes a straggler gets in.
Yeah, it's tough. You know.
Glad you can make it though. You were a little bit late. We thought you got stuck in the vault, but you made it. So appreciate it.
I hate it here.
Beautiful.
Mother man, regular guest as well, and co-contributor on the Basement Radio Arcade podcast and the Gaming Perspective, Mr. Eric Jaxson himself. What's up, man?
Yo, man. Let me just first say thank you so much for including me on the 150. It's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you
to you guys both. It's always an honor, like, to be here with you guys, and I feel I'm in the middle of esteemed legends in the making here. So I'm happy to be a part of it, man. Anytime I get to podcast with Babbitt, Cog, Mr. Lohr, it's awesome. So it's gonna be a good show.
Yeah, man.
Oh, let me also say that Diego, that intro, I get goosebumps for two things now. The Marvel intros, and now your intro, man. That was fire, bro.
Very MCU. I felt like the new ones.
Yeah,
something was happening. New console, something's happening.
Yeah, it's about to go down.
We told him he was going to get the shout outs today. So yeah, he's the best without a doubt.
Fantastic work, bro.
Last but not least, in any sense of the word, Mr. Babbitt himself, host of the place. Oh, I almost messed it up, Joe. Almost messed it up.
No,
host of the Trophy Room.
This is episode 1.
I got you.
It's a stupid name.
You get out of here. Expansion Pass.
Eric, get your boys. Eric, boys.
Get out of here. Go back to your
What's going on, Joe?
I'm happy to be here. I got my second vaccine shot in me, so I'm a little loopy, but I'm ready to have a fun time. And also honored to be on this podcast with you guys celebrating your 150th episode. That is a feat amongst itself, man. It's awesome. And to be surrounded by so many amazing people like Hingle McCringleberry, like Lord Cognito, making his time after Unlock to come over here. Eric Jaxson, of course, Ains. Like, I just have the best company. And then, like, there's Luke.
There you go.
What's going on, chat? Good to see everyone. Sarko starting us off early with the $4.99 super chat. First, wait, is that how it works? Never mind. Cheers, everyone. Congrats on the 150. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that. All right, so this is going to be a little bit of a different episode, and chat, you're definitely going to be included in this conversation. So feel free to get in on it, answer questions, even ask questions of the panel, because this is just going to be more of a roundtable gaming chat. Like we were all sitting, around having a drink or something and just talking about gaming. That's what we're going for here today. So I'm going to throw it out because I've got a list of things here that I figure we could talk about. Is there anything with you guys, anything that you want to jump out of and ask each other or start talking about out of the gate?
I mean, I got one if you guys want.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Why is PlayStation dead?
Don't you start, man. Don't you start.
No, honestly, like, the negative news out of PlayStation as of late, or perceived negative news of like, we got MLB The Show coming to Game Pass. We got, them closing down retro stores and all that. It's been not the best news. And then we hear maybe like the reality that sets in is that PlayStation 5 is the fastest selling console. Yep. We're seeing Miles Morales, just doing gangbuster sales,
which is crazy, right? Because I remember when it launched, they were saying it wasn't that huge. I remember seeing those figures, and all of a sudden, it's just kind of taken off.
With it's the Mario Kart thing. When you buy the system, it's like that's the game you get.
That's true.
Exactly. And then also to see the top games of 2020. A lot of them populated by Nintendo and PlayStation exclusives alike. Mm-hmm. We often get lost in the narrative of how powerful Game Pass is because it's a terrific service. Mm-hmm. But we see PlayStation's still making money the way the old ways are. Same with Nintendo. So my question to you guys is, when will Sony have to adapt? We know Game Pass is growing. We know its influence in the market is especially growing. Mm-hmm. When is it that they have to actually come out with that competitor? Is it really as soon?
The moment that Xbox exclusives start arriving, that's when they need to start adapting.
So when's that though?
I don't know.
Is that like a 1 or 2 year thing?
I think it's a 2 year thing. I think 2023 is when they hit full cadence and they're rocking and rolling every quarter. Yeah, but I don't think they need to adapt until those exclusives start hitting, because that is what sells PlayStation's exclusives, right? Game Pass services, quality experiences are what bring people into Xbox. But until exclusives start rolling out, their PlayStation doesn't need to adapt, because they are going to be the fastest selling. They're going to be trading on their future. And frankly, they've done a great job at gobbling up the exclusives that people want to hear about. Maybe they don't know they want to play some of this Xbox stuff. They know they want to play Final Fantasy. They know they want that exclusive Call of Duty stuff, the Destiny stuff. Like they've built those partnerships in the right spots for the short term. It was the long term when they made the deal, but now that's winding down. So they don't need to adapt until those exclusives hit. That's my take. Yeah, because you start to see those big games launch every quarter on Game Pass, and with that, we've talked about it, right? The mentality of free, even though it's not free. Once those start hitting on a regular cadence, and that PlayStation consumer who hasn't been in the Xbox ecosystem before starts saying, "Damn, you got all these games over here, one after another, that I can just pay whatever the monthly price is at that point." We don't know if it's going to go up or if you're still going to be able to buy cards for cheaper, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. That's going to be an interesting viewpoint. I think that's going to pull a lot more people in. That's when you're going to start to see that compounding of the Game Pass sub, right? Right now, it's been that escalation, million here, million there, million there. It's going to start to compound at some point, and really, really snowball. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think by then, but PlayStation's got time in that sense, right? Exactly. I mean, yeah, they've got. It's not like Joe, you just said, man. It's not like they're struggling, right? We're talking about they're still making billions and billions of dollars. So. They've got time to start to, adjust a little bit on their strategy. I don't see them going the full same direction completely, but yeah, they're going to adjust.
Yeah,
Yeah,
completely agree.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Go ahead, if you want to jump in, my fault.
Oh, no, my bad. No, I was just going to say, yeah, kind of, shadowing what Luke is saying. I think the market will dictate, like, for sure, when they have to make that shift. If they start, when they start seeing, like you said, when these first party games start hitting Game Pass, and if they start, making, people notice and start making heads turn.
They have to be good games, right? I mean, they have to hit.
That's the other thing. They have to be. So I think if, they're smart, which I think Sony is, you're not in business and really having great generations by not being smart and having people in place, So I think now's the time for them to start thinking about what their competitor would be like, and to be prepared for if the market shifts, and kind of like answer in turn. And not even if it just shifts like dramatically, just to say, hey, look, they are already making noise with this thing that they're doing over here. So here's our counterpart, just because that is good business. You want to have something that also pulls the narrative back. It's going to be, I think this generation is so unpredictable, and that's the most exciting part of it.
I love
like
it.
For the first time we're going in, it's like no one can say definitively what it is that's going to be, because you do have a Microsoft that is in it now.
Right.
You have people in charge who are in it and who understand what's going on and aren't necessarily trying to kill the brand. Like, they believe in the brand. So that's a different animal, like, to go against. So I think the market will dictate how fast they need to do it. I do think they are going to do something that does counter Game Pass, because that's just going to be the nature of it.
Yeah.
But it'll be as the things start to shift and they say, okay, now we need to be all in. Now that's what they need to be working on now, because like you guys said, this is the window, and that ground is going to run out eventually.
Right.
So
yeah, you guys have been pretty much said all my points that I wanted to say. So yeah, I mean, it's literally one of those things. I think that, when the initial, to Mr. Babbitt's question, when the initial reports came out, when we kind of saw, behind the curtains on how the sausage is made, and, Dave gone, and, all this stuff. And of course, there was some negative news at the time, but I always said, like, it's not doom and gloom for me. It's just one of those things they have to be cognizant of, because we know Microsoft is extremely committed, and we know the strength and the power of what Game Pass is going to bring when you see those kind of deals. I've always felt short term they would be fine when you have the exclusives. Obviously, the Miles Morales, we see the traction it's doing. We see, as far as their sales and hardware, the traditional model, and being the market leader. I already assume that's going to still carry forward.
The PlayStation brand doesn't just go away.
It's not going to go away. I know some of my panel members think it's over, but I always have to kind of remind them that PlayStation is still PlayStation. But at the end of the day, I think for me, the only thing I have my concern, my eye raised, was just long term, to make sure they still are versatile, they still adapt to what Microsoft is doing, and not get complacent where it's like, okay, we're just going to follow the same model and not do what Sony did the last generation that got them there, which is the diverse lineup, the indie scene they embraced, allowing creativity, allowing a first time games to have a sequel. You know what I mean? So I just want to make sure that they just keep to the essence of what made them great, and not get complacent as they go on in the generation. But short term, absolutely, they'll be fine.
Yeah. It keeps them from being complacent, getting punched in the mouth by other competitors.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that's what's going on, because I know, anytime you say stuff like this, people automatically think you're fanboying. It's like, no, I'm excited for a Microsoft to be involved, because we've seen what complacency does to any company. We've seen what it does to Apple. We've seen what it does to any company that is perceived to be just, doing the thing. It's just like in sports, if you're a top athlete, you need a young rookie to come in that everybody's talking about, to say, I got to hit the gym harder. And that's just how it is. You want that.
And that's the analogy that I keep going through is, I mean, it's like an MMA fight or a boxing match. Like they pop back and forth here and there. Sometimes you wake up the giant a little bit. He needs to get popped in the mouth. Xbox got dropped. They got body blowed and dropped at 2013.
Like Super Punch Out in this movie.
It was rough. But they got up, and I thought they were done. I really did think they were going to be done, and they got up and they did what they need to do. And I like that. I mean, Eric's point is correct. You need them fighting each other. You need them aggressive and whatnot, because that's better for us. And it is, I think the narrative often gets very exhausting when you say stuff like this and then people jump in and start making it something else. That is tiring to me as a content creator. But I want to piggyback on Joe's question with kind of a perception base. And Dan, I would like you to answer this one first, if you don't mind.
Hey, Luke, hold that for thought for 1 second.
Yeah, I got you, man.
Super chats piling up. Let me get to these real quick. Graham, have a wonderful show. Great panel today. Huge congrats to I can't speak, man. One of the most unbiased and fair podcasts, unless Dan's reviewing something, not Mr. Fine 7 to 7.
Shout out to Dan. Shout out to Dan.
Thank you, Graham. I appreciate it, brother. Pampa in the house, as always, man. Thank you. Congrats on the 150 SG. Here's many more. Shout out to the panel. Appreciate you all, guys, and neutral opinions you have in the gaming community. Appreciate it, Pampa. Where am I at here? Rodimus, achievement unlocked. Congrats on 150. On to the next 150. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Enrique in the house from Brap PC. I'm gonna get out of here with that.
There you go. There
Take
you
your
go.
The
$2
joke
back.
is he had to update the driver before he sent out that message.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You had to troubleshoot it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's downloading some updates right now. He'll be back shortly.
Flashing his BIOS. All that
Savage. You know,
Oh man, that firmware update got him. He'll be back. All right, and we got Mo in the house, my brother. Gaming Chronicles, happy 150, you beautiful degenerates. That's us, man. Let's get this baby. Waiting on Dan to remove his hoodie and reveal his pierced nips for the finale. I will probably leave before that, but we'll see.
That's just a taste. That's a taste.
just a taste. I'm done.
That's a taste. Listen, I can't pull it off like Ains does. And I saw that tweet yesterday. I was like, man, he is either like on roids or he's shitting really, really hard. Because I thought that's the first thing I did. Like, and it flashed to, like, you know, Ed from like 90 Day Fiance. Like the first thing that popped in my head.
How do we know that?
Real quick. and I was like, oh my God, man. This guy is insane. Like the veins were like talking to you. I almost went with that as my name. I was going to do like Ains neck veins.
Why? All right, we're changing the subject off of me, but why would you say you know Ed from 90 Day Fiance? How am I supposed to know this?
No, just do a search. You'll see what Angela knows. She's in the house. She knows.
Angela's probably knows.
Phasma literally said, I love 90 Day Fiance.
Yes, that's true. Fair enough. Guys, thank you for the super chat. Oh, I missed you, Walt. My fault, Walt. Glad to see all of the panel. Congratulations, Season Gaming. You are the best, by the way. Luke is awesome. A random shout out to Luke.
You know what? Let's take a moment and appreciate Walter.
That was part of his question.
All I do is give, and they do nothing but shit on me all the time. But thank you, Walter. Thank you.
It's
And
so
if
sad
you're-
that Luke made a second account just to give a super chat. That's what I think it is.
By the way, I don't know if anyone knows, but Walt is Elu's brother in the chat as well. So he's a part of family. And lastly, Enrique is back. Ains' muscles are in 4K 120 with ray tracing. I'm trying, man. I'm working to that 8K.
I was literally.
I don't do it while in party chat, though, Luke. I don't know what the hell's going on over there.
I'm trying to look like you, dog.
That's never going to happen.
I'm 480p, 12 FPS. That's what
I was going to grab a pint of ice cream and just like have it, just shovel it in my nose, but like actually quote Ains' tweet and say the exact same thing, like working for the weekend, like crying with like chocolate all over my face.
Jeez, bro.
Literally, that's what I was doing last night.
I'm not posting anymore.
Fantastic.
Luke, I'm sorry, man. Let's get back.
Back on track.
Let's get back to it. What'd you have? What thought did you have, man? Going off of Joe's question.
Yeah, you remember the first time the Green Ranger morphed with the Power Rangers? That was really cool. And then he had anywho, I was really thinking about these exclusives things that Joe was talking about, or rather what I responded with as far as Xbox exclusives need to start hitting. And my question that I'd like Dan to go with first, because he tends to have a very different perspective on this stuff, is will casual gamers, common consumers think of Bethesda games as Xbox games truly? The way we do about PlayStation games, will that be the perception at first?
I mean,
I think
maybe.
over time.
Hey, Joe, you're not Dan.
I think, like to answer Joe's question, I think when you said, Luke, that those first party exclusives need to be hit, I think it's not. I don't think they need to move until they get consistent third party support on Game Pass. Like once that happens, it's game over for Sony. If they haven't gotten to the point where they need to change and adapt, if you're getting games, like we see a little bit with Outriders, with MLB, well, I guess that's Sony first party, but if we start seeing like Ubisoft games on there or bigger third party games consistently, then I mean there's really no reason, unless that's where you've played for a long time. If you're into the service, I should say, and this isn't, I don't want to be exclusive to everybody, but if I play a lot of third-party games. That's what I mostly play. So if I start seeing those games start coming to the service, where I know I can get it for, $80 a year, and I'm getting not only that, but also the exclusives on top of it, then that's where I'm going to gravitate to. I wasn't going to buy MLB this year. When they announced it, I was like, oh, hell, this is great. This is awesome. Outriders, same thing. I wasn't going to buy it.
Same thing.
And then it came. And that's I think going to put them over the top. I think it'll put Xbox over the top over Sony. As far as like you said, the Bethesda games being Xbox games, I mean, that's basically what's going to happen. I think, you've got the casual side, people are going to buy the PlayStation and the Xboxes, and they're going to play Madden and Call of Duty. That's and we say that all the time, I know, but that's the the bread and butter. That's why, Sony, I think, has sold so many PS5s. It's not that they're, and Miles Morales is doing fantastic, but like you said, it's a launch game, so that's one of those games that's going to be, exaggerated a little bit. But at the same time, Call of Duty, Madden, FIFA, GTA, when that pops out, that's where the casual gamers are going to go. They don't even know about stuff, that we talk about here. They know what they want. That's what they're going to get. And they're, so if you've got a subsection of those guys and gals that are going to be Bethesda fans, Skyrim fans, Fallout fans, people like that. So
was that a shot at Luke?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything is veiled, but it's going to be. I don't know, man. I can see them. I mean, I think of Bethesda games now as Xbox games. So that's it. Just is what it is. I don't necessarily care where they come. I've got both systems. But for those people that are only on the one system, it's they're gonna be like, yeah, that's an Xbox game now.
Especially if it launches on Game Pass and it doesn't show up on PlayStation. It's an Xbox game.
And I've said it before, Game Pass is a subjective value, period. But once they hit that point where they become indispensable, then you can have that discussion. I don't think they're quite there yet with it, but I also think that it'll be, within a year where people are going to be really, really hammering that service home.
Yeah.
It's going to be insane.
Also, the amount of like social media promotions that they do, you will know by the next Bethesda game that this is Bethesda is Xbox. Just by the way of like, again, I there's not a day on Twitter I don't see the posts of, we've been fans, now we're family, Bethesda has joined Xbox, like tweet constantly. So like they're hitting you with those promoted ads for sure, letting you know, even if you're just slightly in the know, that Bethesda is going to be, Xbox. And I think that's just such a terrific fit as well for those two. It's a match made in heaven. So to me, I think by the time the next big Bethesda game comes out, I think everybody will know, and Xbox and Bethesda will do the marketing for, we reiterate, we are solely Xbox now. And I think that's going to sway quite a few people over to the Xbox just for the next Skyrim or the next, Fallout for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Elder Scrolls 6 is a monster, right? If that game hits properly, like everyone thinks it will, then yeah.
Yeah, the key is going to be the aggressiveness. To Dan's point, the aggressiveness with the third-party deals that they try to stash up, like you said, the Outriders, the Octopath Travelers, the MLB, the shows, that kind of thing. It's going to be, if they continue that aggressiveness, they have to continue it. They can't have gaps, because obviously, Sony's bangers are still going to be out there between, those gaps and stuff like that, and they have tremendous pull. But also the marketing to the casual is key. There's a ton of casuals that do not know about Game Pass, and it's imperative on Microsoft in the areas where, when people are buying these games, or those, the casual that would get, like, say, for example, the Madden, the Call of Duty, the 2K, or what have you, it's very important to know that they know okay, you can get that game that you love, or those 2 or 3 games that you would only buy for the year, and this is in this great service. And by the way, here's all these other games, and here's this.
Yep.
It's imperative of them. That's my only concern with Microsoft is I still feel they need to still work a little bit more with Game Pass. It's such a great value, and I still think, like, my cousin didn't know. He just got a Series X, and he's one of those guys that falls into. All he playing is his Madden and his 2K. Sure. That's all he playing. And I'm like, bro, you do not have to buy that. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, just get Game Pass. You got all that. And he's like, oh, I'm hearing Outriders. Yeah, that's in Game Pass too. Like, they still don't know. So I don't know if it's a disconnect at brick and mortar with retail. You still have to be very cognizant of over promoting it to the point like this is one of the great values and all the things you get.
Yeah, I mean, we joke all the time that the Twitter community that we're a big part of and talk every day on, it's literally nothing. We don't mean anything. Yeah, it's in the market.
Preach.
So yeah, I mean, they've got to figure out how to get that message across. Right. I'm still really shocked that when you buy a Series X or Series S, you're not getting like 3 months of Game Pass.
I was just about to say that, Ames.
I don't know how
at
you
least with the
that.
S. That should be a slam dunk at least at the minimum.
Everyone thought it was going to launch with it, right? Because it's a digital console. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
There's got to be a licensing thing as far as giving it away versus not. There's got to be some reason why they wouldn't do that unless their metrics are telling them otherwise. But Cog, you said something about brick and mortar, and that just sparked something in my mind. Brick and mortar has been largely shut down globally, and I'm thinking that in some ways, if you were to approach from a certain perspective, as people are beginning to get vaccinated worldwide and brick and mortar things are starting to open up more and more, that's timed very well with this upcoming holiday as far as Halo Infinite and potentially Starfield and the benefits of those future Xbox exclusives being into Game Pass. And that word of mouth might be more prevalent and relevant as the world starts to open up. Whereas right now you can get Game Pass and they got your Outriders, they got Witcher 3, they got all these things, but not a lot of new shiny at the moment outside of Outriders and show that you would say to people like your cousin who's hearing about it here and there, but like the big stuff, and the big stuff's coming. So the brick and mortar might be important once again because people want to go to brick and mortar after everything. Right. Whereas 2 years ago, man, don't even put me in a GameStop. God help me,
Right.
Yeah, crazy.
Also, Luke sucks.
It could be a running theme.
Yes,
a running theme of these two. All right, we're gonna jump around now. We're gonna have some topics that are just for fun, if you will. So Dan sent some of these over as well. Dan, I don't know if you want to jump one out, but here's one. When's the last time? I think 2 people mentioned this. When's the last time you can remember where you played something on a new generation of consoles and it literally blew you away? Where you just said, what is this? This is next gen. What's the last time you thought that when you played a game?
Who's going?
Man.
What'd you say?
Who's going first?
Dan, I thought you said something.
No, I'm trying to think. I asked this question. I didn't have an answer.
I remember for me, during the 360 era was kind of big for me because I always feel consoles push things forward. And I remember it was kind of like, yo, you got to get an HD TV now. Like, you got, 720p, bro. Like, you got to get that. Like, that was the new thing. So that was, 1080i or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you was lit.
Yeah, it went from 1080i to 1080p. Like,
Remember, wasn't there like a debate between like what was better or something?
Yes. Oh, I remember those days, bro. And it was just like, for me, I always have a soft spot for the beginning of the HD era. And
years, man.
That was it, brother.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No. You brought me right in. That's where I was transitioning. So for me, obviously Halo had its history and stuff like that, but this was the new 360. Shout out to my man Peter Moore. You know what I'm saying? Like, the aggressive, they're out there for 1 year. And I remember seeing that. What was it? Mad World commercial?
Yes, Mad World. That was the initial
and
trailer.
That thing hit. And the song, and I was like, yo, what is that? You know what I'm saying? And you get it, and I got it at home, and I was just like, wow, gaming has changed. Graphical fidelity, a 2-player co-op game all the way through, and then Gears 1, which I have a soft spot. I missed the horror of Gears 1. I missed like when the Krill came for the first time. You're like, yo, get out the light. Yo, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, Gears, it was that new IP. You know what I'm saying? And EJ appreciates it. That's why I'm always on my hashtag just one. And I know Xbox community be killing me because you need those new transformative experience for the generation to get people in, that new protagonist. And Sony does that so well. So that's why Gears always has a soft spot, because it was this game-changing thing. And I also remember, if you remember, Ains, the story about it, would Cliffy be going to Microsoft and those guys and say, look, this is what it's going to look at with this set memory that you guys.
Yeah, they changed the hardware.
Yeah, and they're like, this is what it need to look like. And for them to fight to get that in before and after. And I always remember how next gen that game looked to me. So yeah, Gears holds a special spot for me in that generation. Yeah, and that was like I can't remember now. I may get this wrong. Someone in chat, but that was like $1 billion decision. Like it cost Microsoft like a lot,
an extremely large amount of money.
That world though, that hit different, bro.
Oh, you can go back and watch that trailer today.
That trailer gave me goosebumps. They even talked about it in the room. I think Peter Boyd talked about it when they played the trailer in the boardroom of Microsoft, the execs, before putting it out, and how everybody was like, yo, that's it. But yeah, Gears definitely had that spot.
And that song was that's a remake of that song. That's not the original version of that song that they used for that. But it's an amazing song too.
I want to co-sign on that too, because Cog hit it out the park with that one, because everything around, I think the reason Gears is such a special, franchise, and like Cog said, it will always hold a place in my heart, no matter, even if I feel today it's time for them to like really truly dig in and evolve it into something different, right? But if anybody here who's never seen it, who just kind of came into, console gaming, because we have to remember, there are people who Xbox One was like their first foray in, right?
He was a 360 guy. I'll give him that.
I was an original Xbox kid too, man.
That's what I just said.
Or even
Xbox One, 360.
The original Xbox.
Okay. Now I'm not in.
Don't let their naming conventions fuck you up.
right.
Sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. But YouTube Road to E3, and go back and watch what it took them to get that game there. Like you said, they changed the hardware, but more than that, they almost didn't make the deadline.
Yes.
And I will never forget that one like pivotal scene when Cliffy's on stage and he's demoing Gears of War for like the first time. And I was like, what the hell is this? Yeah. Like Cox said, it was like a game. I was like, yo, I don't care if you didn't have one yet. You said, I have to get a 360 to play this game. I've never seen this in a game, a chainsaw bayonet on the game, and they wanted to pull that out at one point. From what I understood,
yes, they did.
Stood on their square to keep that in. And I remember Bill Gates talking to Cliffy, said, "You guys gonna make it like to launch?" He's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make it." And what it took to get it there, but that was like pivotal. And if you think about what Ain said about the $1 billion decision, that wasn't their only $1 billion decision. The Red Ring of Death to fix that was a $1 billion decision. They put a lot of money into making sure that Xbox was there to stay, which is why I think it hurt so many of us who were like in on that generation, because 360 was my primary platform because Sony was on their nonsense. And that's the thing that I always preach like on Twitter is don't be loyal to companies, be loyal to you, your pocket, and what you want. When they do stupid things, tell them I'm not doing that. When Sony got it there, oh yeah, you'll get a second job for this console, and this I'll see you guys. And I saw them about 2 or 3 years later. I'll see you guys when you get your mind back,
get your mind right,
and remember what made PS2 great. And right now you have this competitor who's doing all these things that are really awesome, and also kind of being like the distant cousin to the Dreamcast, and all these things going from Xbox to 360. I was like, yo, they're hitting on all cylinders. So it was heartbreaking.
Yeah,
right.
Brother.
So it was heartbreaking when you got to the end of the 360 generation, and it was all marketing deals, and they weren't really trying anything new and this and that. But that Gears thing was huge. And I think some people don't really remember that, or some people have forgotten that. But all of that around that was the game that sold 360s. And that's what they kind of missed in the Xbox One generation, was a game that said, this is definitively why you need to have this. And that's what Sony did. They gave you numerous titles that said, this is definitively why you need this console.
Yeah, which funny enough, we got some comments on. So Dana said Infamous 2, that's going way back though. Titanfall on the Xbox One was one. I think Microsoft or Xbox was trying. They wanted Titanfall to be that game. And it was an incredible game. I played the hell out of it, but it didn't land the same way. I think the negative connotation around the Xbox One at the time really hurt. The potential of that game.
And they ain't had no story.
That's true too.
Man, if that game would have had part 2's campaign,
it would have been it. Yeah,
it would have been on.
Yeah. Guys, I wish I could say I was paying attention. I was watching Gears of War. Bad trailer, man.
That's so good, man. You go back and watch it,
it's just goosebumps, man.
Goosebumps.
That's the thing. Like, you know, I roll when people call me the PlayStation guy because I get it. Like, I have a PlayStation podcast, whatever. But
in your name, dummy.
Nobody likes you. Sit in your corner.
Speaking of your name, we got someone called the Xbox Expansion Pass Super Chat. I don't know who that is. First time, long time. Does PS Trophy Room know their name is out of order? It should be Trophy Room.
Trophy Room PS is taken on Twitter when I made the Twitter handle. All right. Maybe you didn't want me to succeed. Maybe you wanted it to be out. I don't know. But someone should look into it. Anyway. Dude, so to get nostalgic, I will definitely say 360 is that de facto, like, holy shit. I remember being in GameStop looking at the demo station for the 360 when it was about to come out a few months before, and the Call of Duty trailer where you look up and you see the guy's face and you're in Normandy Beach, like, holy shit. Like sixth grade Joe was like saw God. Like, this was
sixth grade. I sold plasma in college for that.
Well, that means you're old. So, so like seeing that was, oh my God, it was another level. And then when it comes to Gears, like, the trailer is one thing. It's one of the best gaming trailers ever made. But I think for me, and it's just a little thing with this game, is when you're going into the mine for the first time and you're seeing the water drip down. I remember walking into just the water and seeing it bounce off my armor. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And Gears is the best when it's that dark. It's, you know, that survival horror-esque feeling, that, like, the calm before the storm. That moment always sticks out to me as just, that was it. That, like, and I remember playing Gears going, why do I need a PlayStation 3 when I have this game? And I think, Cog, it goes back to what you said. It's like, man, I want that, and I think that's what we're getting out of this Xbox. I want that Xbox. It's like, hey, let's make some new ideas. Let's bring back some really old characters, and let's make something. Let's make a Banjo game where you see them making a perfect Dark game. Like,
oh, dear Lord,
you got these IP, you got these IP. Show them. And I think the second favorite experience that I've had is with my PlayStation 5 with Astro's Playroom. Because that was a moment that the passing the controller moment between my brother and I is, you know, just some of my fondest memories as a kid. And we were having that when my brother got his PS5, and just us trading the controller while I'm, like, patiently waiting for my PS5. That fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you talk about, like, Gears of War like that, because you know, if you don't know, when you play Gears, right, you think of all the third-party games out there, and usually you see a lot, like, your character's a lot smaller, and they literally brought the camera in on the characters in Gears to show the high resolution of their armor and the lights and everything, to showcase it at the launch of the 360. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing looking back on it, man. You know, right after the show, I'm going to watch Mad World trailer.
Yeah, I got to.
Here's the thing about Gears 1: the graphically still holds up so well.
Yeah, sure does.
Yeah. Even 2 generations, a decade of time, and it still looks so good.
But Gears trailers too. Talking about Mad World, right? Like, good. Gears trailers in general are fantastic. Like, go back and watch Gears 3 with oh man, my memory. You know, who's Dom? The Dom trailer for Gears 3. Go watch even the original trailer for Gears 4 when they brought it back, and you have Marcus running after his son and Anya and stuff, which turned out to obviously be JD. It's amazing.
It looked almost like it was going to be horror. Gears 4 did.
Yeah, they kind of touched on it.
I would really love them to go survival horror.
Me too.
I would
the title.
I will as well.
Yeah.
The question is about the first experience on a console that made it, right? Because we've talked about Gears a lot.
Yeah.
But there are 2 things. It looks two things that stood out in my mind. First, when we're talking about trailers, thinking about that Hellblade 2 trailer when that popped off for that first time, that gave me the same level of intensity, goosebumps that Mad World did. And I think there's a potential in that because it will, despite Hellblade 1 being out, something about Hellblade 2 feels distinctly special and different. And I wonder if people don't have that same effect, if that's not the game everybody needs to go play. That's a lot of pressure to be put under, but I got that vibe. You know, I got that same Mad World vibe from that Hellblade 2 trailer and how it popped off. But in a very, very different sense, but still answering the question, do you guys remember the first time you held a Wii remote and it did what you wanted it to? Obviously, it was a trick. I mean, it was a trick in how they made it work. But swinging the Wiimote and having a bat moment or boxing and like feeling like you were punching and it worked out, that just when you let yourself fall into that first time and then seeing my grandfather bowl, that was a pretty cool feeling, all things considered. And I was the guy who had the 360 and then had the Wii. I was a Wii 60 kid.
360, right?
But seeing my grandfather bowl and my mother play golf, and these are not people that like video games or were athletes, that was as important a moment for me as a son and a grandson as playing Gears of War was for the first time. And it was neat to see that. And it's a very different attitude towards that first game experience that has that moment. But it did stand out to me. And I think the Wii, we owe a lot to Nintendo's Wii for bringing people into our medium.
Yeah, it transcended gaming, no doubt.
Yeah,
it was a gateway console for so many people. Man.
Yeah, and Nintendo has always been really good at that.
Yeah,
just aside from a couple here and there, but
they know how to become part of that culture, which extends beyond gaming.
The original
the Switch has done it again.
Yeah, it absolutely has. Because I remember looking at the Switch commercial and like, I'm not taking a Switch to the court to play basketball and watch. And then you go to the court and you watch a bunch of guys sitting around playing like, on the Switch.
You wasn't at the rooftop bar with
But then working in school, like I watched, when we had lunch the way we did before, the pandemic, you'd watch. It was one of the coolest things I watched, walking around was a group of kids and at different tables at lunch playing, Smash, like huddled around. And I have to keep telling them, guys, settle down. I get it. But you got to settle down. You got to stop screaming, I'm like, I say, damn it, Nintendo, they got it. They know exactly what those commercials meant. They knew this is what people will be doing with this thing, So, yeah, they're genius.
They take that risk, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah,
they're like the Wizards of fun.
Yeah,
9 times out of 10. Like 9 times out of 10, they know what the magic of video games are. Like, they'll fumble with like a Virtual Boy or a Wii U, but like 9 times out of 10, they know what I think they want their product to be more than anybody. Like they have their set goal of like, this is what it is, and it's straight out of the gate what it is. Like I think the Switch is another great example of that next gen moment where I'm playing Breath of the Wild, a really great Zelda game, and seemingly uncompromised. It's not the best, it's the third, but like it's like uncompromised and playing it on mobile. And again, a lot of my gaming memories was with my brother, so we're just sitting in the same room both playing this game and giving each other tips or finding out something that we didn't know. That's the beauty of video games. So like the Switch and Nintendo absolutely knows what they want to be, uncompromisingly so. And shout out to the Switch because it is my favorite Nintendo console. Like,
whoa.
It's true.
Calm down.
You guys,
all right.
I know it was like a Famicom or something.
Come on. Look, just because you were born like a few months ago, all right, let's not disrespect Nintendo's history, okay? There's not going to be any Super Nintendo slander while you're on this panel.
Well, listen, the Super Nintendo, one of my favorite consoles of all time, but I was like, I was like 5 or something. So like Super Mario was
20 years old. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I have no idea what this ancient technology is, but for me, like,
about me. Look at this kid. Look at this kid.
Shut up. It's a Commodore looking. Anyway, so like for me, it was the N64 was like the last big Nintendo console for me. After that, I fell out of love with it, and that love returned with the Switch in a real way.
You mentioned the Wii U. It's funny. I look at the Wii U like the Switch beta. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that
it
was
was.
them like
It really is.
transitioning to the Switch to see how they could pull it off. That was their beta period.
Mhm.
100%. I ain't sign up.
I did. The damn thing's still in the box, stored away somewhere. It got played for all of like 9 hours.
Do you guys remember the PS2 launch? Like that was mine. Like that was that moment where it was like, this is insane. Where we just went from, the PlayStation 1 with like time splitters and like DOA and all those,
Onimusha,
Midnight Club. I mean, there were so many good games. Armored Core 2 was, I had put so much time into that one. There was a boxing game. I can't remember what the hell it was called. That
not Fight Night
for me. No, it was like Ready to Rumble or something.
Oh yeah. No, that's Dreamcast. Man.
That's Dreamcast.
Maybe 2. Maybe it was 2.
Maybe
round 2. I think maybe it was called something. It was a launch game for the PS2.
Anyway,
and SSX came out. The amount of hours I put into that. Then when Tricky came out, that was insane. That was all we did, me and my friends. But I think that was that leap, that kind of generational where I went, okay, now we're starting to see something different, I guess, and then everything from there is just like, oh yeah, this is great. Oh, this is better. Yep. This is better too. This is better, and you have those moments, here and there where it's like a game like, I know for me, it ain't like Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out and you're like, geez, I don't even know what the hell to say about this game. And it just, and it changes, the landscape of gaming, and you don't get a ton of those, so they hit a little bit harder, games like that. And it was just after the PS2, I felt like it was just this gradual, incline that was just like, okay, oh my God, they can do this now. Oh my God, they can do this now.
Yeah.
And 360 hit. Yeah, it was that was probably the fondest, like the biggest leap for me that I saw, and everything else, when you go from like and even just recently, when Valhalla came out and I played that, and then I just played, I played it on the original, the series or the Xbox One X. Yeah, God damn it, I hate this shit.
The One X, yeah. You went from the One X to the Series X.
Yeah, then you can jump to the Series X and you're like, holy crap, 30 frames. I can't believe that made that big of a difference. And it does, and now I can't, my backlog's sitting there looking at me like, hey, come on, play me. I'm like, are you 60 FPS?
Oh, you 60? Right.
I can't even talk to you. Don't even talk to me.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's so many that we had, I think.
I think PlayStation 2 is a good one though, because I came in. I don't know about you guys. I know some of us are Sega brothers here. PlayStation 2 pissed me off because it killed my Dreamcast. Right? I mean, that was the death blow for it. But when that came out, I didn't buy a PS2 right at launch. I got it shortly after. I got a deal. I don't know what it was, but what actually hit was my buddy came over and bought Grand Theft Auto 3. Whoa. And when first playing Grand Theft Auto 3 on PlayStation 2, that was a revolutionary game. That literally changed everything. And that changed everything. I mean, that was the moment where it's like, you have to have a PS2, period. Like, go get one.
Actually, that was going to be one of the questions I was going to throw out was what was a game that you knew the industry arrived? Like, it wasn't going to be the same anymore. And that was one of the ones I was going to throw out, and so Dan kind of like kicked that off, but because it was almost the same for me. Like I didn't have a PS2 yet, and I remember going by my cousin's house and he had one, and for whatever reason, I hadn't even really kept up in the gaming mags about Grand Theft Auto 3 and what it was going to be, right? So it was kind of a surprise to me, right? Because I kind of ignored it. Anytime I heard Grand Theft Auto, I'm like, the top-down games, whatever.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, have you played Grand Theft Auto 3? And I'm like, no. I said, I hate Grand Theft Auto games. I don't like it. He said, no. He said, come here. He sits me down and gives me the controller. And I remember like 4 hours later,
and
he's like, I got to go to work. I'm like, go.
I'm good. Nobody's stopping you.
And I'm like, did I just pick up a hooker and took it? Well, I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, what is this game? This is insane. Like, how are they even allowed to do this? This is almost illegal.
I got two memories of Grand Theft Auto. One was well, I was at a Blockbuster. Ames, you remember those things, right?
Whoa, easy.
Right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Easy. You gonna insult Blockbuster and Super Nintendo on the same panel?
Can't have this, man. We can't have this, man.
I'm just saying, I think you were born during the silent film era, so I
So he's muted. Don't worry, you can't hear him anymore. You can't hear him anymore. He's been muted.
Ouch, man. Ouch.
Bang, bang.
No, I got one when I was a kid when GTA and Halo are destroying kids. And I convinced my mom to get Grand Theft Auto for my brother. I remember pleading at the counter. The guy doesn't believe me. And kind of neither does my mom, but she goes for it anyway. And me late at night trying to play it. And I only played it for 15 minutes because I was just too scared my mom was going to throw a sandal at me. And then the next one is with GTA 5 because of the first person mode. This is, of course, I'm a lot older now, So I was just like, hey, Mom, come in here. Look what I can do in this game.
Right.
And my mom said, she's like, how's she doing all that talking with I don't know, Mom. I don't know. And then she gets out of the car and I run her over. My mom's like, oh my goodness, Joe, she's just doing her job. Wow. But in terms of when the industry for this is gonna change stuff, this is where I put my Sonny boy hat on. It is the original Last of Us. The first 20 minutes of that game.
You child. Are you kidding me? Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2.
Just shut up.
So powerful. And Last of Us is your industry has arrived game?
You're both wrong. So just continue, and then we'll get to the real game that did it.
So for me, the in terms of narrative, it is the original Last of Us. The first 20 minutes are
amazing,
incredibly powerful, and when I hear it's what game do you show a non-gamer to prove that this medium exists and could tell relevant stories? I always point to The Last of Us because I remember in Spain, my uncle and my dad, they're both hammered. There's video games are for kids. I'm like, let me sit you down and let me show you. And my uncle was just like, and you play this? And I remember showing it to my dad when he was sober with my mom in the room going with the HBO show happening. I'm like, this is what's they're gonna show. And my dad does not give a shit. He hates games. He's whatever, old Hispanic dude. You should go read a book and become a doctor type of stuff. And has no interest in the world. And I remember after playing the first 20 minutes, he's just it's just silent, and he's just is there more? Can you do more? And that's
different. Different.
That's the coolest. I am so with you. And I've used Last of Us many times in that way as well. I think that's fantastic. But I didn't think that was the question. The question was the first time it arrived. Is that really and truly?
The first time it arrived.
So two things, because I think Wise Old Gamer is right on this. And thanks for the super chat, brother. The original Legend of Zelda. Holding that cartridge for the first time and playing an open world, you knew gaming had forever changed. And gaming was a lot smaller then, right? But Zelda absolutely changed gaming at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say whenever I'm at, because I've been asked this question before, I would say the moment that changed for the future is Mario 64. When you first...
Really?
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Because gaming hadn't been 3D. So when that game came out and you looked, remember how big Mario was at the time, right? Mario was the icon in the world for gaming. And then you came out and you could actually move a camera and walk around an open world. It hadn't been done before.
Yeah.
No. And literally from that point forward, the focus became, you got to make games 3D. You got to be able to move around the world. And that changed the entire arc of where gaming was going.
And I think Mario is the first time this is going places. I for 3D movement, I think when it comes to online, for me at least, the game was
Halo.
This could be absolutely Halo 2.
That's what I was buying.
Halo 2 is the moment where holy shit, games could be social in a even more grander scope.
Yeah.
There are multiple moments, even BioShock.
Really are.
Holy shit, this is
yeah.
type of experience. So yeah, there's multiple like, oh my god, this is it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Luke. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I cut Joe off several times to show joking, like when we were being serious, and I didn't mean to, Joe. But go fuck yourself.
This is a family show, you son of a bitch.
I didn't have that Mario 64 moment. I don't know if it was the timing. I mean, Ains, I know I shared with you not too long ago that I didn't have 64 when it first launched, and maybe I played Spyro first, and that's why it didn't hit with me. Never really liked Mario 64, if I'm being honest. Amidst the Mario games, just didn't click at the time. But the first moment of transcendence for me was booting up Metal Gear Solid for the first time, because for months as a kid, I'm tracking this, that it's important in all the magazines, right? I had posters on my wall. I had no idea why. I just knew everybody else was excited. And I'm reading about everything I could get. But the first demo that released in one of the demo discs, and you heard that dun, 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 and it was just coming up on the screen. And then it started like a movie.
Yeah. There's like opening credits with it and the whole nine.
Right.
It was like a whole different thing.
That blew my mind. And later on, I had the similar moment to Joe where I sat my mom down, who couldn't care less. And I'm like, look, he's making me switch the ports on the system. He's shaking my controller. And she was just like, what? Look at that.
I'm so proud of you, honey. I'm going to go back to my red wine.
Right? Yeah. And years later, I showed Joe's mom the same thing.
Wow. That's crazy.
But that was a cool thing, though, to have that movie moment opening. And this topic is, we're all bringing up different things, and all of us are all like, yeah. And that's the cool thing is these different entry points for people. And that's, to me, it's just neat to hear that, because I had similar moments with Metal Gear Solid 2, where I'm X amount of years later. It was just wild. My mom walked in on the part where he's doing where Raiden's doing naked flips, though. Right. She's like, what's happening here, honey? And I'm like, oh boy, that's a new conversation.
But that was the one that had the demo opened up on the boat, right? Which one? Yo, graphically for its time.
That was like
crazy. I remember that one.
Because that's when we started getting into like actual physics of bottles breaking and things like that. Like in the game, that was crazy.
You're like, I've never seen something so realistic.
But he lied to us. Remember, this was pre-internet, or pre true internet. He lied to all of us.
Yes,
and the chances of you getting spoiled were very small comparatively. And so that first one, I was like, wait, what? What is this? It was so
that would have been a Twitter meltdown.
Back then. Just the YouTubes of like Kojima liar.
All caps.
It's gonna be huge.
Exactly. I have a buddy to this day that I can't even talk to him about Metal Gear Solid 2. He goes, "That is not my no."
Yeah, bro. It was
people were heated.
It was almost reminiscent of like when Arbiter came out.
Halo 2.
Call it, a lot of people felt betrayed. They were not safe, and it was like, "Who the hell is dude? Like, why am I him?" Like, it was a big thing.
Or Halo 5 with Locke, for that matter. People like, I didn't buy this game to play Locke.
There it is. I remember though. It's a good point, Luke. I do remember that. That series and how transformative it was, and Kojima was in his bag, just the movie style production, and you know what I mean. He always had those little jokes and quirks and stuff like that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and it was directed, written, produced, produced, distributed by Kojima.
Craft services.
That is one of my number one games that is like on my wall of shame is Metal Gear or series. Because I've never touched it. Never.
Really?
And I regret it. Yeah.
Yo, that was going to be another one of my questions later.
They owe you a good remake, though, because my wall of shame is Mass Effect. Never clicked with me at the time. I have that legendary helmet pre-ordered for some reason because I make bad choices. But I'm ready for that.
I can't wait for it to click now.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
See which one you click with.
You get to see the brilliance that is Mass Effect 1. And I can't wait.
The question will be one or is it going to be one or two? Because they're fixing some things and changing it. Like my Mass Effect 1 experience is going to be so different from somebody else's.
So did you like Knights of the Old Republic?
No, it's too slow for me at the time, right? At the time. And that's the thing. I've evolved as a gamer extensively, but I was always like, oh, lightsabers, awesome. But what I wanted it to be was much faster. I wanted Jedi Knight 3 gameplay with the Old Republic.
So
right?
if you like just straight action games, then it'll probably be ME2, you know. But if you want a real RPG, you can go ME1.
You agree, Dan?
Let me get this super chat real quick. I can't let Dan speak because he's going to make something stupid about ME2.
I don't even need to say anything because it speaks for itself.
That's it.
Soul Calibur, Wise Old Gamer, $5 super chat. Thank you, man. Soul
game.
Calibur on Dreamcast. First time I saw graphics better on consoles than the arcade. No doubt. Soul Calibur was the game that made you have to have a Dreamcast. No doubt. Pixelbit G in the house. What's up, man? First time Mario displaying a convincing medal was game changing for me. Prior to that, there weren't enough colors. Yeah, you're right. Because he looked like liquid metal, which was crazy. No doubt. So.
Okay, I have something breaking before we move on. I have not weighed in on the Mass Effect debate. I think I need to go ahead
just so you're aware, Eric, I'm the host, and be very careful with your selection of words.
Say whatever you want.
I gotta put it out, and this is what I gotta go. Mass Effect 2 ain't sorry, man.
Damn it!
Yes,
and I'm gonna tell you why.
Break him down. I want to systematically break him down. Let's go.
Where's Elu? Elu, jump in here, man. I need backup. I need backup.
You get no help. That's it. Let's get it.
I missed Mass Effect 1, right? And at the time I was looking at it and I was kind of like, okay, it looks cool, but I'm not really okay, whatever. I wasn't really.
Oh, by the way,
back up your statement. You missed Mass Effect 1?
I didn't play Mass Effect 1 when it came out. No. But I'm going somewhere with this. You're going somewhere with this. So I missed Mass Effect 1 when it came out. I was kind of like, okay. And I had a friend tell me about it. I was like, oh, yeah, I might check it out one day. And then the Mass Effect 2 demo hit.
Yeah.
All right, let me see what this whole thing is about. And I was like, God, this is what I've been missing. So I'm giving props to Mass Effect 2 for bringing me in and making me go back and play Mass Effect 1.
Okay.
And I went back twice on Mass Effect 1 because first time around I got Rex killed. I'm like, can't have this. I can't let it. And it happened so fast. I was like, what the hell just happened? What did I pick? I made the wrong decision. So I have to go with Mass Effect 2, because it was the game that made me say, wow, I've been missing out on this world.
Okay.
And it made me like fall off. In fact, I'm sorry, but Mass Effect 2 is definitely. Yeah, right. Sorry, Ains.
No, you're good. I'll let Elu correct you real quick. So,
all right,
ME1 had the story, the setups, the characters, everything. It's all about the story. Love the caps. It's necessary. It's necessary. So it's true.
But I will say this: I'm happy to see that they're fixing the Mako.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I don't think anybody, even people who love Mass Effect 1, were okay with what was going on with that.
So in all seriousness,
are you saying that it's flawed? That there's issues with Mass Effect 1? Are you implying that there was things that need to go back to be correct?
Implying.
I mean, they put it down themselves when they went back to Mass Effect 3 and said, we don't need to touch this one. It's pretty much it's pretty much.
And then they made one mimic another one.
When you lose budget, you lose timeline, and you got to strip away core features.
I see you, Ains. I see you being messy.
There are people out there like me that had their first Mass Effect game be Andromeda. It's rough. It was rough.
That is terrible.
No. All right, so are you gonna get legendary and play through the whole thing?
My plan is to do so. This is something I love collections of things. Tomb Raider trilogy, Shovel Knight, all of them in one package. Hitman 3, having all of them together. My plan, I'm going to get a Mass Effect's Legendary Collection Edition thing and start with 1 and play through until I'm ready for a break. Right, and that's my plan at the moment. So. It'll be interesting to me to watch the Mass Effect relevancy kick back up, because right now everyone's hooping and hollering for it.
Yeah,
is it real? Like, are the masses actually calling for it? Because our ecosystem is calling for it. Is that a vocal minority group? I'm really curious to see that happen and how that plays out, because I love collections of games because it gives people a way to experience a series. Joe's talking about how he missed it. There needs to be a Metal Gear collection in true form. Twin Snakes,
true one.
Twin Snakes, true form. And I don't mind remakes and remasters of games that have been remade and remastered. Maybe not 4 years apart, Last of Us, but overall, like these are good things for the industry, for preservation and getting people in on stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled by Mass Effect's return because shoot, it's 2021 and we got time in the gaming space. Never before we had this kind of time with this amount of quality experience available to us.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's going to be fun. All jokes aside, the trilogy itself is incredible.
Yeah.
All the games are incredible. There are differences between them, but I mean, there's goods and negatives about each one. Yeah. But I mean, just overall, that arc and what they did with the characters and the story and just that, again, that universe, right? It's incredible. Yeah. So I can't wait to go back to it.
No, but Luke's right. It is going to be interesting to see when it finally hits the different layers of it.
Yeah,
because I mean, there've been guys like us who've been hyping it forever. There's probably just gonna be that person no matter what. They're gonna be like, "This is what you've been hyping."
So, I'm curious. It's funny you said that.
You just don't like things.
I'm actually curious, like again, for like the Lukes and Bad Bit, and like just to see how it hits them, like because things how it is to us. This is space opera. This is legendary, right? Yeah. So.
It's our gaming Star Wars.
Exactly. So the issue is the only concern is, does this generation look at it that way? Do they get that nuance? Or is it something like, this not really that, you know what I mean? I'm very curious. Like, the new generation is different. So, that I want to see how that holds and how much of effect it has, of course.
Yeah.
Joe and I often banter about Back to the Future. Because I just never thought it was cool, never liked it, never anything. And that in the nerds
wrong with you.
In the nerd space.
I'm taking my glasses off, Luke.
You go ahead. Yeah, Brent, you know what?
You see, no time for this man.
Nothing.
No time.
Bring it. I know what makes you
cheer. No, let me hear this.
Dan, so there 150 episodes, we still can't get a panel right.
I mean, I don't even know
what are we doing? I don't even know what we're doing anymore.
Let's go, Luke.
He also said Top Gun. Joe said Top Gun was a bad movie, so I don't get it either.
It's overrated. It's overrated, and Tom Cruise is
overrated. No one's out there on the street talking about either one of these things.
Luke, who in the vault hurt you?
Got him. Stop slandering my man. That's the ghost. All our boy stuff. He goes.
Thank you, Cog.
I got you, bro. We got you. I got you.
Sarko killing me, man. All right, Luke, go.
Sarko cut me so deep. I don't remember my Back to the Future, right? Like, did not click with me. Just does not. And as such, trying to go back to it, the magic of it being the first time you saw that DeLorean go and do its thing in the dock and whatever the dumb kid in the jacket's name is, I don't know. Whenever that, but without the first that it's new and is special thing, it's hard to recapture some of that nostalgic feeling, right? Very few movies hold that. Jaws is like a movie that might hold that. Some games will hold that. I think Metal Gear 1 might still hold that, but I don't think Super Mario 64 holds that same type of magic. Certain games and movies do keep that point, right?
That's fair.
And it sucks because, like, as a kid, it didn't click with me, and now the joke is that it's not funny or not fun for me. But like, I feel like I missed out on something that was special. Right.
And that's my question to you, because that's why the Mass Effect trilogy thing. I'm going to lean on you guys because I'm dying to know what this generation of gamers truly feel about it. You know what I'm saying? And how they analyze and dissect those moments that to us hit so different because we were in the moment while this thing was happening that was transformative. So it is a good point. I'm gonna let you slant on, back.
I was gonna say, I think
a little too far. But I do understand the perspective.
If I could suggest something to you, Luke.
Yeah, go for it, for real.
The point is incredibly valid. Stop using Back to the Future to make it.
You know what might be a better example, real talk, is all these people who talk about Halo shouldn't have sprint. You know what I'm saying? Like, I cannot fathom a world where your Spartan doesn't sprint. It's just weird to me. But because it was magic to them at first, it means something. So maybe like outside of our joking like banter, maybe that's the right example. But it's just Terminator 2 is the best Terminator bomber. Yes.
Oh, my man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. One is still fantastic. Yeah.
I actually Phasma nailed it.
Oh yeah.
I did go back and
Phasma, you're my
rewatch.
favorite, man.
I did go back and rewatch the Alien movies, and that's a fun argument. Alien 1 or 2.
Careful.
Mhm.
You could argue either one. They're both great.
Oh, okay.
They're both great.
I thought, I didn't know where you were going with that based on your ridiculous prior comment.
If anybody says 4, they're out of the. They're just out of here.
No, but that's interesting, like with these collections, because like even with like Ninja Gaiden collection coming,
yeah,
you know, you're gonna see people who've never touched those, who have been like into the Souls games, to kind of see what their reaction is, you know, to playing through some of those, because
very different
they're
too.
difficult, but difficult for a different reason,
exactly,
and a different mechanic, you know. So that's gonna be interesting to see. But
I think
I'm in 100% agreement with Luke that the Metal Gears, it's a shame that it's trapped. The last collection is trapped on PS3, and they have not brought it forward, because I think again those are games that should be retouched and given back out. Because
I've been debating picking up a PS3 just for that collection.
And you can't play the whole collection, but is it 3 and I forget which ones? There's a collection on Vita I have.
3, but 3 has 1 in it, and there's like a weird thing in that. I know what you mean. It has 2 and 3, but because it's subsistence, it has 1 in it somewhere, and some of the old not Famicom, but another one from like
the classic. Yeah.
It's weird, and it sucks because Metal Gear 4, and this is actually an interesting topic. Games that lock out fan bases because they're so complex in mechanics and in story. Metal Gear Solid 4 is a masterpiece, but I would never recommend anyone on God's green earth play that as your first Metal Gear. That would just be a mind-boggling thing. It's overwhelming mechanics, overwhelming story. It makes no sense. And certain franchises,
like any of them make sense. It's Kojima.
Well, 1 was the only one that you could like jump in and be like, all right, I get that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, then he went off the wall. I mean, 4, in my opinion, I'm not a huge Metal Gear fan. So here, I'll start my slander, because I think they're overrated games. But Metal Gear 4 or Solid 4 is my favorite one.
Mm.
Yeah. Kyle, what do you say when the lolly lay?
Yeah, he lost me there. Look, Ains hit a very important thing that a lot of people sometimes are afraid to say. It's just, look, he's original, he's amazing, he has these unique ideas.
Yeah.
But it's like when you really try to follow that narrative sometimes, and he's like all over the place. And I never figured, that was the first time I put the controller down in disgust while listening to a story, because I was like so wrapped up in what was the one, the Metal Gear 2 with Raiden, that was the one that Solid 2 debut. I didn't mind that he did the switcheroo. I was like, okay, I'll get over it. Cool. Still fine, whatever. But I'd never forget they were going to this big exposition, and like you said, EJ, then I just heard he said, "Who was it? The Lali Lalu?" And I'm like, "Come on, man!" Like, I just rolled my eyes, and I was like, "This is what we doing?" Like, it took me out of the moment.
Right. Well, I remember I started playing Metal Gear Solid 5. I hadn't played it, and Dan and I joke about it constantly because Dan's got like 9,000 hours in the game, but I hadn't played it, and so Bert had me play it for a series, and like 15 minutes into it, you're breaking in this building as Snake, and a dude comes in on fire on a horse, and I'm like,
just random.
Like, what the fuck is happening? Like, how is this even supposed to make any sense? Like, he's just. I've always said Kojima would be a better filmmaker than he is a game maker. I really do. He has a vision and unique ideas, and I think he could make something truly special. But how that translates to game mechanics is a whole different conversation.
Right. Well, that's the thing with Kojima's games. His game mechanics, that's why I have 300 hours in it. You know, you look at a game like even Death Stranding, you know, that was like the first game in a long time from Kojima that I actually at the end was like, I kind of get it. You know, and but what he did with the game and the social aspect of it and how that all worked, you know, was really, really interesting. With Metal Gear Solid 5, it was so open-ended, like how you could do stuff. You know, that's what I loved about it. You know, if you wanted to, you know, go in guns blazing, that's fine. You know, if you wanted to stealth, that's fine. But it wasn't just those two polar opposites. Right. There was a bunch of stuff in the middle. The close quarter combat mechanics were amazing. There was a lot of little things. He does that really well. Where he loses people is when he tries to talk and starts putting, like it's such a just the basement, everything about the game they did a really good job with. I still don't to this day. I've read the Wikipedia and I still don't get it. So yeah, I don't understand. I'm like, okay, whatever. It was a really, really, good mechanical game, but short of that, I mean, I don't even know.
Bomber's just cutting straight to it.
45 minutes.
Yeah, there's like a thing with Kojima, because I know people kind of say like, well, he hates the US. Yeah, I'm like, Kojima probably far the furthest person from hating, because he is so steeped in our culture, right?
Yeah.
So I think he did this weird like cross thing of like him being a fan of like American cinema, American culture mixed with his own culture. And then he becomes like almost like the Chris Nolan of game development, like,
except for not as good. Yeah.
Well,
when no one's got somebody to rein him in,
but that's just me. Sometimes I'm like, it's just me. I'm like goofy, but I like. But sometimes with a Chris Nolan movie, you watch it, you get the visual first, and then you go back and you're like, oh, okay. Right. I kind of put that part together and that part together, because you get so lost in the movement and everything that's going on. You're like, huh. So I think that's kind of like a part of what goes on with Kojima. I kind of like him in that space, but sometimes you want him to kind of reel it back, but that's just not his thing. Right. So like the thing like with Death Stranding, I'm a big fan of that game, but like Dan said, it's like it's almost, and I'm not going to compare him to like a Miyamoto, but Miyamoto is very much in his game design. He will tell you, I'm sitting in my garden and I'm kind of looking and I'm doing some gardening. And then I had this idea of these little people were like moving things, these little creatures moving things around or whatever. So I was sitting there playing Death Stranding. I said, was Kojima taking his groceries in and like they all just fell over one day, and he was like, God damn it. Oh, that'll make a pretty good game mechanic. Because we've all been there where you have like all the bags and the stacks, you're like, I'm almost there, and everything just like teams over. So it's sort of like interesting. But as I look at Death Stranding, I'm kind of with Ains. I'm like, this would make a brilliant like Netflix show, like a series of some sort. Yeah. Because there's so much sci-fi and there's so much weirdness in there. So it's one of those things that it didn't translate for everybody for a game, but like Dan's kind of saying, by the time you get to the end of that game, when you get through if you can get through some of those slower points of the story and some of the parts that don't make sense, by the time you get to the end, you're like, wow. And then going through a pandemic, you're like, damn, he was kind of onto something. Like the world being even more separated. It's like really, it was almost timely in a way. Yeah. But then he's also very good at getting performances out of people.
And that's the one thing that I often hear is the genius of Kojima. Is like a lot of the things that he's talking about through his games are true to a certain extent when you take a look at like Metal Gear Solid. But for me, it's Death Stranding, like being secluded in your house and being relying on your UPS guy, your Amazon guy, whoever it may be, and having the loss of the connection to the outside world. Very much this whole situation speaks to a lot of what Death Stranding also talks about, is that we need each other. We need to be better to each other. And it's only through us being connected to each other, treating each other with some type of mutual respect, can we forge a new path. And really good. But like a whole lot of weird shit in there.
Always.
The baby.
Shout out to BB.
See a few people in See a few people in chat talk about Zone of Enders too. That's calling back.
Enders,
that was big.
All right, Zone of Enders was a pack in with Metal Gear Solid 2.
Metal Gear Solid 2. Yep.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Yep. Mm-hmm. Let's jump over. I got one I want to ask you guys, because I had one that I actually hadn't thought about in years, but it came to me this morning. Was around couch co-op, not cast co-op, couch co-op. Plug. Where what? Going back and thinking back, Dan, I don't know if you gave me this one or if this one was just on my list, but thinking back like classic couch co-op experiences through the years, you have one that really jumps out to you, whether it be family, friends, competition, whatever it might have been, that just jumps out to you. And, the theme here being that I miss those days, man. I love online gaming, do it every single day, talk to you guys, other people every single day gaming. It's still not the same. Still not the same as being in the same room.
Right. Yeah. That was, that thing you came up with that, the kind of piggybacking off of that, kind of combining them. Like you have that one person in your life that is kind of like your brother or sister in arms, in gaming, so like I miss the couch co-op stuff. You know, and that's what, you know, like the SSX we kind of talked about earlier. That was so many hours into that game, just passing the controller back and forth, trying to outdo each other, you know, and it was that kind of stuff. And it's just kind of gone, right? And I never had, like, it was always me and my brothers, you know, and like I would get one console, he would get the other console, or, you know, it was always this like deep rooted competition, but it was still that, you know, that love there that, you know, even though I made him cry and I yell at him, no, there's no crying in baseball and stuff like, you know, it was one of those things where it's just like, you know, we can sit down and play together, you know, my friends and stuff. It was the one you get a little bit older, you know, high school 20s and stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, I'm going to just do a lot of drugs and eat a lot of food, which I do one of those things still, but it's that was the kind of stuff where it's just like, you know, you turn your mind off and you kind of just immerse yourself into it, you know, and that's what those couch co-op games were, you know, Mario Kart. And I've seen my kids doing it now, you know, now they're into the Smash Brothers, you know, and they've got their nephews up there and they're just 4 controllers going at it, you know, one time. And it's awesome, man. I mean, I miss that kind of stuff. Yeah. You know, but at the same time, I've grown to where, you know, I'm glad I had that moment, but you know, I also am okay with what I do now, you know, as far as the hobby goes, you know, kind of keeping to myself, playing a little bit online here and there, but, you know, just really kind of losing yourself in a game alone also has its perks.
Of course. Sure. Of course. Rodham has taken us back. Look at this.
Yep, he hit his bag.
NFL 2K on the Dreamcast with the VMU play calling.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I was just about to go in because it's like, couch co-op is important, man. Like, you know, for each generation, I got kind of different moments, and I'll go all the way back for Ings. Like, where it really hit me was the Master System having the Double Dragon have.
We talked about that.
Yeah, and Sov had that, and he came over my house. It was a pack-in. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. We're playing together, you know. So like each generation, I remember moments like that. You know, what is it? Genesis Golden Axe.
How about River City Ransom?
River City Ransom was a big one. You know what I mean? And then like, you know, also from the co-op standpoint, I don't want to lose sight of also sports game and the one-on-one aspect in the crib. So it's like, you know, there was that Lakers versus Celtics bowl, the Madden era. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, there was these moments with sports games where it really was transformative, and you guys are playing each other. And it's like, yo, don't look at my playbook, and you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. And, you know, it really got intense. And then I shout out to Erotimus. He brought up, you know, Dreamcast with the VMU and stuff like that, with the NFL, you know, the 2K series and things like that. Like, co-op is just so much a part of why I think a lot. Now that I'm looking at my gaming history, like, it's a big part of a lot of the systems I chose at the time, because like even Turbo, you know what I'm saying, when they had the tap, you know what I'm saying, the 5-player tap and stuff like that, like it really, really was a ball. I think for me, the ultimate culmination in co-op was Halo 1, you know, 4-player split screen, and then, you know, but that kind of took us outside the box. So we're having so much fun doing this on one screen, 4 of us, hang them high, you know, blood gulch, all that stuff. But then it's like, yo, we could link this up, and you get your TV and I get my TV, and then you can have your own screen. And then, you know, Halo 2 evolves it to now it goes online. But again, it started from that foundation, right? That foundation of you with your friends playing together, having a ball, whether it be cooperatively, competitively. Definitely, man. Yeah, co-op. It's a huge reason as to why I picked the ecosystems I like, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, there's a few. I mean, you mentioned some of them, and there's several. We could mention Halo LAN parties. I used to coordinate those, and I mean, amazing. But I think right in my late teenage years, so 96 Nintendo 64 came out, right? So I had just graduated high school at the time. Joe was thinking about being born.
Not quite there yet, but yeah.
But so right after that, right, once that kind of took off and Mario Kart came out and GoldenEye came out, and I was like 18. I was like 18 or 19. I got 2 things. So every day back when I was a real life degenerate, I'd work my, you know, simple job, and then we would go to our buddy's house and play 4-player Mario Kart. You would just show up and there'd always be at least 3 or 4 people playing Mario Kart. Don't matter the time of day, anytime. And we would just eat and do other things, illegal things, and play Mario Kart, right? And then the other thing I always remember, this is the one that came back to me this morning, and you guys will find this funny because you know how competitive I am. So at the time, I was the gamer in the group, right? So we're at University of Delaware, where all my buddies were going to college. They're in the dorm room. GoldenEye came out, and it was like spread like wildfire, right? Every dorm had GoldenEye running, 4-player, you know. And I show up one night, I get down there, I work that day, I get down there at night, everyone's already drinking and partying and everything. And so, you know, start all that. And we come home at like 3 a.m. And this one dude was talking smack all night about GoldenEye. And my buddy, my best friend, Rich, at the time, he's like, dude, he's like, you got to get on with this guy and just show him what's up. And so it was like 3:30 in the morning, half drunk. And we played, it must have been till the sun came up. And I just embarrassed him. And I must have been talking, I was probably talking like King by that point. Like that guy, he left that room so demoralized. Like he just wanted to keep replaying and keep trying. And I was just burying him. And oh man, I'll never forget that night. It was one of the funniest
sounds
things.
Sounds like an odd job player.
Yeah, once you know you have somebody like that, you're just like,
oh yeah, you know you've got them, right? And then you're in their head too, and it's like, you sure you want to keep doing this? And you just taunt them and just bury them, and man, good times.
Yeah, the thing that replaced that now is the rage quit. You like got them.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
But you don't have the same interaction anymore. When you see them later, they're just like,
yep.
You know, it's like it's like a blank face that's gone. But but no, that's. I was about the same with that Ains. It was like my cousins and I, but again, around the N64. And for me, I was already out of school. I was already like on my first job, and didn't think I was on a job because I go to my cousin's house and we'd be up until 4 a.m, you know, playing WCW versus NWO and stuff like that, and GoldenEye. Those were like the 2 main ones, and then jumping back and forth between that and Madden was like the couch co-op thing, and that was probably, for me, like the last real time couch co-op was the thing, because by that point, you know, we were all getting older and you kind of go your separate ways, and we were moving into like the worlds of like online gaming and stuff like that. So, but even with that, like, mine was more couch co-op, but I've never been like a huge online co-op player. Like I've always been more of like a single player. I'm like Sav and I, Cog, are more like a spirit, you know? And a big part of that too is, you know, being like raised like an only child. You know, the only times I would do the co-op things with my cousins, and a lot of them weren't like online players. Like they just weren't guys like that. Like they pick up and play like their few things, and some of them just got out of gaming in general. You know, so a lot of it in the community, like, when I see people like goofing and like and what we call cracking on each other and stuff like that, and people get sensitive and mad, I'm like, why are you mad about that? That's what it was. Nice. You know, and how it goes further. Yeah, when they go too far and they make it personal, that's different. Yeah. But when I can sit in and listen on the ILP, and I'm like, yo, these sound like my cousins. This is what's going on. This is how we were, you know, talking about stuff like that. Right. So I'm trying to be more of a co-op player now and get more involved in multiplayer. But I'll tell you, the one that's kind of bringing it back to me now is my daughter. Okay. You know, she's at an age now to where, you know, it's like the moment I get home from work, she's like, hey, can we play this? Can we play this? Can we play this? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Give Daddy a moment. And now she's actually holding her own, because we're playing things like Donkey Kong, you know, Tropical Freeze and things like that. And she's screaming at me. Like, you know, like, you messed us up on that one. That what we're supposed to do. I'm like, you know,
my kids have eclipsed me at this point. Yeah, they have gone to that next level. Where I'm just like, I'm just not.
It's on the way, man. Like I said, you know, we're playing, you know, was it Unruly Heroes together and stuff, and I'm like, she's actually holding her own in this. This is pretty. Nice. This is pretty crazy. You know, at 6 years old. You know, wow, okay.
Have you played It Takes Two with her?
I was wondering if would that be too much, because I heard some of the later levels get really difficult, but I thought that would be a good one for us. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, so I'm playing it with Bert actually. Him and I are playing it, and we're a few levels in, but it is, especially I can imagine for a daughter like that, it would be like almost magical, dude. Okay. The story is about a daughter and her parents, and then the world you play through are it's incredible. So I don't know how hard it gets later on. I'm not that far into it. So someone I think Mo in the chat and a few others have finished it. So comment if
if it's too hard. But yeah, I would definitely check it out.
And honestly, for her, it wouldn't even matter because she's like you. She's like you mentioned, competitive. I'm seeing that in her already. Like it's like if I'm not immediately good at this, she's like pissed. She wants to put the controller down. I'm like, I said, sweetheart, that's a part of games. You know, you watch daddy play like, you know, like a Dark Souls type game or like a Sekiro, and I'm ready to throw the controller, but I have to get back in there.
Yeah.
You just put it down for a moment and then you come back. I said, but that's the good part of getting when you achieve it.
Exactly.
There's no feeling like it. She doesn't want to hear that right now. She's saying, like, no, I'm supposed to be good at this now and it's supposed to work. And I'm like,
if I ever spawn a child, I'm gonna dunk on that kid so hard. I mean, me and Luke's mom are trying so hard. I'm gonna have a crick in my neck because she's insanely flexible. But honestly, it brings me back to Shadows of the Empire on N64.
Where did you connect these things?
I love how you transition.
Like it brings a whole new meaning to couch co-op. Me and Luke's mom has a casual thing. Period. Now I'm gonna start this new sentence. And she's insatiable. And
Miriam, I'm sorry. No one talks to my little Miriam like that. Joseph Moran, you go apologize to your mother. You apologize to her right now. She is very disappointed. No, No, I'll be right over.
Eric, I told you, Eric, get your boys.
Get your boys. You gotta go.
Shadows of the Empire was an amazing game. It's one of my favorite Star Wars games. And I remember my brother and my cousin and I trying to kill the Wampa in the first level. Yeah, and that thing takes like 1 million shots to kill. I remember GoldenEye. My cousin would pick Odd Job, and we're like, dude, he's shorter than everybody else. That's unfair. He's like, no, he's not. And God, every time we force him off of Odd Job, he'd suddenly lose, and then he's back to Odd Job. He couldn't afford losing. He's such a fucking coward.
Man.
But yeah, like those couch co-op days are the ones that I miss the most because my brother isn't the gamer as I am. Like I walked down the other day, he's still playing Battlefront 2. Like on his PS5. I'm like, damn, there are so many games. What are you doing here?
The modern Battlefront 2.
Yeah, modern.
Yeah.
But like he's still playing it. Great game, but like, you know, it is what it is. But like it's old. Go out there, buy something else. I don't know.
Let me get this. Oh, sorry, Luke or Joe. Let me get the super chat real quick from Wise Old Gamer. I used to play couch co-op with my wife. After that resulted in 2 kids, she refused to play with me. She still plays with her new boyfriend.
That's
I'm done.
I did not grow up with a lot of
himself.
I grew up with a lot of people that did not play couch co-op. It was not a nice Steve. It was not a regular part, but when it did happen, it was a really cool, magical moment, and it set up some of my favorite memories in college. Are taking the GameCube down to the basement of our dorm room where they had the big screen TV and hooking it up and playing Mario Strikers for hours, or Double Dash back in the day, which was really cool. You know, Double Dash still to this day my favorite Mario Kart. I don't know if it's the best one, but it was my favorite. Just because of the memories we made. And then later on in life, my best friend Kevin and I would have people over to the house for PlayStation All-Stars tournaments or Street Fighter 3 or whatnot on 360, because it had 360 had a really good arcade games, right? Yeah. And so we would bring our fight sticks over, or I would, and we would just have a good old time. And those were not regular memories for me, but they stand out so far above the rest because there is something special about couch co-op. That said, I like today where my buddy lives 2 hours away from me, and we let Joe play with us too, and he's a couple hours away. And like we every night almost, we're just playing games. Yeah. Right. And it's that's better, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely connects us, right? Because like EJ said and Luke said, like we get older, you know, friends, life circumstances change, but you know, sometimes it's just all about the party chat, right? Like it really doesn't matter what you're doing. It's just that you're in there with your friends and you just, you know, shoot shit. You know what I mean? It's fun, and that's the part that it takes us back to those couch co-op days when we were physically around each other. You know what I mean? So I think that was a good point of the evolution of gaming and just having that, because it takes you back. You just catch it up. Sometimes not even just games, just on life. I haven't heard from you in a while. Oh, bro, I remember you. I used to play this, that, and the third. And the other thing that's cool is, I'm going to touch on it. I forgot this. I'm going to touch on it. It's like friends list, where you met met gamers in specific games, and then they like your boys. Like sometimes you may have even met this person in real life, but because of your positive experience in a specific game with this person, you know what I'm saying? And then they go away for a while, and you see that hey, that online status pop up, and you're like, yo, something happened to you. You know what I mean? And then you just start. So I think that's the beauty of the online game, like Luke is saying. Like it really, all these new friendships. I mean, to be honest, like that's part of how I met Attic. Like it was just like, yo, who's this loud, obnoxious kid in this party chat? And he's just so opinionated. I'm like, but I like him. You know what I'm saying? And then it just kind of bubbles from there, and we end up having this dope friendship. But yeah, man, like the online era with the friend lists and party chats and stuff like that. And to EJ's point, I go funny story. It's like, it's funny now to hear like the people who rage quick who can't take stuff, right? Who can't take the criticism. But like, I don't know about y'all, but I remember them Call of Duty lobbies when before like game chat was mandatory.
Oh,
you had
game
to
chat,
deal with who you was dealing with.
Yeah, Halo 2 is like that too,
bro. It was real. Like you had to have a certain level of thickness of skin.
Yeah, you did.
And then sometimes you would have to give it to people after the match, like now don't get crazy.
Right.
Like it was serious, man.
I remember like Call of Duty was one of those where like you had a fucking nemesis in that match, and like in between the matches, you're talking shit to each other.
Yep.
You know, like
add somebody to your thing,
and like I like your screen name, but you suck as an individual.
Yeah, Eric, that's what I was going to say.
It
was good to have someone in your core group that was good at talking shit, because you let them do all the talking, right? And then you just play.
King on deck. His mouth was loose.
Yeah, because there'll be somebody you can't stand, and you still add them to like you feel like but when I can't stand them, and I'm putting them in here because you're not getting away. Yeah, you're right. It was way different. Like then you had to put up with it,
Yeah.
But speaking of that, like Xbox Live, think about this. I remember like with Halo 2, getting an Xbox Live and for the first time, and telling my boy I'm on the phone with him. Yeah. Like, yo, so you getting on? He said, yo, we're about to fire it up. And just getting off the phone with him, putting on the headset and go, yo, I can hear you. You can hear. Can you hear me?
Transformative. Transformative, bro.
Yeah. That's another one of those moments where you're just like, wow, man.
Game in his next level right now. Yep.
Dano, Halo 2 let you talk shit during the game if you were near. That's right. They did have proximity chat. Yep. Oh, that's actually, that's kind of where the teabagging really took off in Halo. Because it was like if you killed someone, you were right next to him. It was like, I got you, and you just, you're really grinding it into him.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Hey, let me ask you guys a couple quick hitters. All right, just random shit.
Dan, finish chewing.
What are you eating? What are you
doing here?
It's delicious. All right, I'm done eating. Speaking of eating, what is your go-to gaming snack? Do you guys have a go-to? Because this is something I'm very passionate about.
Obviously,
clearly. I'm a peanut M&M's guy and or peanut butter M&M's because you can't. They don't get all of your controller.
Yeah.
You can't do like Cheetos or Funyuns. I've tried. It doesn't work. So, sometimes depending on the game, I'll be like, chowing down on some ice cream, whatever that is. Do you guys have that one like drink snack that you guys go to every time?
Well, as Joe starts eating
Joe eats a bit of it.
I do, but it's going to be boring as shit. So I'll get mine out of the way. And you guys
if it's like a protein drink, I don't even want to hear it.
It's pretty boring. And this is no joke because it's every night, and I have to move my mic away and apologize to everyone because I try not to crunch in their ear because I hate that myself. But I
got
just
a story for you.
I have the unsalted mixed nuts from Costco, the big tub of them.
Big giant.
Yeah. And they just sit right there. I'm looking at them. They're literally right there in front of my TV. Every night the lid comes off and it's just,
Is that like, what the hell is that brand called? Like Founders something?
Kirkland.
Oh, it's a Kirkland one. Okay.
Kirkland. Yeah, Costco brand. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking at them. They're sitting right there.
Let Joe take you on a journey before I share.
What's the worst sound in the world? Right?
Someone crunching in your ear while eating.
you would think. Let's take a step further. Luke,
I do it on purpose.
Luke, the old fuck Lohr over here eats Raisin Bran, right, from the bowl, and you hear him scrape the bowl. You hear him. It's not tap. It's like, what are you doing? Eating fucking cereal with a fork? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
It's like the shovel on concrete sound. Like
The moment it happened by accident once. The moment I found out it bothered Joe so much, now I'm like, you know what? 2 bowls of cereal is not too much. I have tripled my bathroom time just to annoy this man. Raisin Bran.
Luke's like, what's going on? My stomach hurts because I've been trolling Joe the whole time we've been getting. I ate too much cereal.
Yes, Luke would chew on tinfoil just to piss me off.
Raisin Bran with Fairlife chocolate milk on it. Fairlife doesn't have lactose, so you can do it, and it's got a lot of protein. And like, real talk, this is the most obnoxious thing because Joe and Kev hate it, but I've been trying to get like in shape now, you know. And so I'm trying to look like Ains and Cog out here doing this ninja life thing. So I gotta have massive amounts of protein. And so this one, it was a protein bar, and I made sure I was right next to that mic. I tore that thing right on.
Just get it out of the way. Just take the wrapper off, Luke.
Just take the wrapper off. Who's eating a bowl of cereal with milk?
Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah, well, like, what do you?
I can barely do it without it.
That's what he's doing. It's like, then just have a meal at the diner or a dinner room table, whatever. Like, just. God, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Never would I do this to any of you, but the moment I found out it bothered
him,
it was on. Oh man, yeah. My snacks have changed over the years because obviously, you know, gotten older. You got to kind of watch because I mean, younger years it'd be like a whole cheese pizza.
Of course, yeah.
But
I still do that.
But now it's more like Skinny Pop.
You know, Skinny Pop's like a good one. Yeah,
that's my one. But when I want to get crazy. You know, going back to what Dan is saying, like peanut M&Ms, I'll put the peanut M&Ms in the Skinny Pop and mix them around.
Like, no joke, I went to CVS. Yeah. They had the Easter peanut M&Ms on sale for like $1 a bag.
Oh, man.
Like, then I put them all in a giant Ziploc bag, and it just sits there and like
it just like raking them in.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm at the point now where it's like, you know what? I think I missed that, health boat. It sailed off. So I'm just like, you know what? I live the good life. Whatever happens, I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I diet. I drink Diet Pop because this offsets everything else. That's in my head. That's how it works, and also cashews.
Honestly, that's the best thing Catholicism has just given us is the week after Easter, all the candy's like $1.
Yeah, that's when I went to town. You can't. I mean, it's too good of a deal. Like
exactly.
I never ate it. I was like, man, I got these for $1.
Yeah, I could have 8 Reese's for like a dime. Let's do it.
So speaking of money, this is my other quick hitter. How much, ballpark this, do you think you've spent in your years of gaming on the hobby? Like, I even Ains over here crying because I know just walking down into his room, I can ballpark it. But how much do you think? Like over 10,000?
10,000.
10,000. That's
more than 10,000.
On what exactly?
On gaming.
On the hobby.
Everything gaming related. Hobby.
I'm talking consoles, games. I'm talking statues.
Mike.
Bro, the moment I could afford my rent, it was over. It was over. It just became, this is my life now.
Yes,
and it's what I love.
That's right. Yeah.
That's some people like jet skis. Some people like jet skis. That's thousands of dollars with it. Rock on, do your thing. But the moment I found out that I could take care of my family and myself, and then have what I loved,
disposable.
Here it was. Statues behind me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's gonna happen. I'm not king, but I'm happy. You know what I'm saying?
Like, he's just trying to figure out how much is in that frame that he's got in this picture.
I actually joked with my wife the other day, like, literally, you guys can't see it obviously, but this is an alcove here, and there's statues, like the big statues, all the way around it. And I told her, I said, if you look at the current value, there's probably 25 grand sitting there, just right there.
Right.
But no, I mean, in all seriousness, I could have bought another house.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even joking, because if you think if you think, no, I'm not even joking about the statues and stuff, but like over the years, you know, I'm 40, going to be 43 years old. And I used to buy in trade games, including Neo Geo, the big ones, right? With a lot of money. I mean, I have like 400 feedback on eBay from buying and selling and trading games constantly. So, I mean, you look at 30 years of buying everything gaming related, like you're in hundreds and hundreds of thousands. No joke.
Yeah. I thought about it the other day. I was just like, this is insane. Yes. Like what I could have done. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's worth it because it's just that's what you do, right? I mean, that's our thing. You know, it's never gotten to the point where I looked at something and went, you know, aside from like, do I have room for it? That's always the thing. It's not like I don't care how much. Do I have room to put this somewhere? You know, because, and I think there's no judgment. There's just no amount that you can put on, you know, what it brings, I think, to all of us here and guys in the chat and guys, you know, everybody that's into the hobby. But it's just when you sit down and you actually start processing what you have or have had, you know, and you can go back and say, okay, well, I traded this game in for like $3 at GameStop. So you can take that off of your total if you really want to, you know, if it makes you feel better and balance it out. But I'm just curious.
Yo, can I jump in on one point there? To anybody that right now that's not rocking the disposable income and you don't have the statues and whatnot, then that stuff doesn't matter. It makes us happy when you can do it, but you are not more or less of a fan if you don't or do have the statue. And that was something that took me too. I'm saying that because it took me too long to realize that. Right? I still love this game or this franchise, but I didn't have my walls covered in it or the statue for it or whatnot. And that is absolutely okay. And that's something that took me too long to figure out. So I like to pass that message on because there was not too long ago where I had not a dollar penny to my name. I was living in someone else's house, Kev's house. I was living in Kev's place, you know, like trying to make it. And that doesn't make you more or less, or you love it more or less. You don't love a movie more or less or something more or less based on how much you spend on it or whatnot. Because we all have different time that we can dedicate to a game. And like Cog and I were talking not too long about Destiny and Outriders and whatnot. Some of those games are a grind. You don't love it more if you play it more or love it less. Some real world's real world. Like that, and I just wanted to pass that on because that's
I think you're right because I think social media compounds that problem, right? There's that fear of missing out, and there's people showing off the stuff they get, guilty of it, obviously. And I don't. Yeah, that's not what makes you a fan of gaming or anything to do with it. It's just something I now in this point of my life am able to do. But I've been there where it was like, all right, I got to sell some shit I own to buy this game I want. You know, what can go? So I can get that one game. I don't know if we've all been there, but we've been there.
No. That was actually going to be one of my questions. Like, do you guys have a regret of something that you let go of that you wish you had? Because I know I did. I shared it a few weeks ago. I got one
right now.
Yeah. What you got? And I had my N64. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Because this one really fucking pisses me off. My brother sold our original Super Nintendo, all of the games.
This is the problem. This is why you don't understand the greatness that is the Super Nintendo.
No. This was like past the N64. Like this is like the week before they're like, no more Super Nintendo games. We're not taking them in EB games. But my brother traded all that in for I got it. Not Siphon Filter. What's Splinter Cell? There you go. He traded it for the original Splinter Cell and a few other Xbox games. And I never forgave him for it until a few years, like 5 years ago, or 5 or 6 years ago, we went into a retro place. He's like, pick a Super Nintendo out. There, I'm sorry. And I'm like, all right, it's not the same.
The only way you make good.
But yeah, it's that one hurt my soul. And the thing that I sold that I regret is Red Dead Redemption, the original one. It's far better than 2. I have hundreds of hours in that game. It's one of the greatest games ever made, unlike 2. And
how many times do you want to get muted in one show?
Just
it's boring, Ains. It's not good.
It's funny. Red Dead Redemption 2's mechanics aren't that far off from the first one either.
Right? And so
I feel bad for Ains. They covered.
But hey, I love the story, though. I love the story. But I got pissed off at that game when I did nothing wrong and a horse ran into me and I got like a bounty. I'm like, you know what? The hell with this.
That'll happen in real life. This is the Wild West, God damn it. That's what's supposed to happen.
But I traded it in for a Kinect.
Oh,
What?
Ouch.
An original Kinect or the Xbox One?
Original.
So many people don't know this. The original Kinect is still the fastest selling device of all time.
Which is, yeah.
I mean, you're not too far off in the moment. Looking back,
And I never had a room where I could use one. I'm 6'7". I never had the room. Connect was like, dude, just give it up. You can't do this. I'm like, all right, fine.
Real talk. If I ever stand next to EJ, I'm just gonna be like, "Yo, what up, man? You're what's up?"
Odor's looking up at EJ. My God.
King, and they were like, King's big. And I was like, dude, I'm not a small guy, and King makes me look small.
Hey,
Dan's the same way. Yeah. Dan's a big dude. Like, makes me look small. Seeing Bert next to Dan, Bert is 160 pound, 5'6".
I'm double that.
Yeah, half Spanish. Like, I have a picture of Dan standing next to him. I swear, Bert looks like his baby brother. It's hilarious.
That's an interesting question because I look back. We talked about like trading in games, and just full disclosure, like I asked that prior question about how much you think you spent to basically, I feel better about my Anthem currency purchase, now, I just needed that to be validated, and you guys did that, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Or justified, sure.
Yeah. I needed something, but it wasn't like gaming. Like it was just like an always next thing up. Back in the day when you didn't have that disposable income, it was I'm trading it in. I had to make that decision. And it's always hard. Until you start, GameStop comes out and they're like, yeah, we'll give you $200 towards this new console. And it's like, oh, that sounds way better than the $50 you've been offering, for the past year. But I had a comic book collection, and it's not necessarily gaming related, but that was probably the one thing that I think I sold it at a garage sale, like all in one. It was like boxes and boxes of it. And I ever since that day, I think I've regretted that, because there were so many big comics in that collection, and I never really went through, and I just got to the point where I was like, I just got to get rid of it, and I was just like, I just need to say goodbye. But a lot of those, I kind of missed that kind of stuff. But so it was just like you're essentially just a product of where you're at and what your station is at that time, as far as the gaming stuff goes.
I was gonna say it's funny because I have too many examples here to list. You don't want to see me cry on camera. But I've told the story before that, I just mentioned Neo Geo. I had an American. So if you know Neo Geo, the home consoles, the Japanese one's much easier to get and it's cheaper because they made a lot more of them. So I had an American Neo Geo AES, it's called. And then I had a custom MVS, which is the arcade board that you could hook up to TVs with custom sticks. And I had a collection of the US and Japanese AES games, the home ones, and I had arcade boards.
Wow.
And I literally sold all of that after leaving the Neo Geo community for car parts, because I'm a car guy too, and car parts for a car that I sold 2 years later. And I show these guys I talk to now, like one of those games, one of the AES games now, if you look on eBay, it goes for $3,000 to $4,000. One game.
Damn.
So you think about how much a whole collection would be. I added up. It's somewhere like tens and tens and tens of thousands. It just makes me cry. But Dan, to your point, like I think that's those types of moments in my life. I don't know about you guys, where I've my PS1 Japanese art role-playing game collection, right? Those games are worth tons of money now and so hard to find. There's just tons of games like that. And now, which you guys very well know me looking around this room, I'm afraid to get rid of anything. It's like, I may just have something stored away that I'll never look at for years. And I'm like, I can't sell that. I'm going to want that 10 years. You know what I mean? I become like a game hoarder.
Yes.
I mean, you literally built extra shelves in your garage.
He's not lying. Yeah. He's not lying. I literally installed hanging shelves in my garage a few months ago, my son-in-law, to put empty statue boxes. Because there's no more room in my house for
the boxes become a thing too. Like you're like, where am I going to put these boxes?
Statue boxes are massive.
Like you said, if you do decide to sell, the value is better when you have the box to do with it. I remember you telling me that, and I was like, yeah, that is true too. But what Dan is saying is true also, because I was the same way, Dan. I had probably 11 long boxes of comic books
Yep.
And when I got married and my wife and I were going to move in, I was kind of like, I have nowhere to put them. I legit have nowhere to put them. And the thing is, I had to let them go, and I let them go for nowhere near what the value of most of it was. But it just had to be done. And now you go back, you're like, Jesus Christ, I wish I still had this one. I had this one. Then you look at the value, I'm like, I had that. And now some other guy has it, and his comic shop is flourishing.
Yeah, exactly, man.
To even point fun at Luke, because you know I love to do it. Like, we have a Dragon Zord in my basement somewhere.
Shut up! Do you really?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so. I'm sorry. The joke is,
Tell your mother to take a picture of it for you.
There you go.
You ever have that one toy or that one thing that you as a kid you couldn't get? My family did. We didn't have the disposable income at the time.
Yep.
Dragon Zord. Like I to this day still want it. It's like $300-400 on eBay, and like I can't justify that even now, right? But man, Dragon Zord was the thing. And
That's a good question, actually. What's that one thing you couldn't have when you were younger? You could go back and get it now. I'm sure all of us could. But what's that? Mine was the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier.
Oh man,
I always wanted that thing.
Yeah.
I always want more to the Transformers combiners. The only one I ever had was I never forgot. I was like, I had like good grades one time. Like I was like, all right, we're gonna get you something.
Yeah.
And then it was devastating. I was so
the Constructicons.
The Constructicons.
Oh yes,
because like in the hood, you only could get them individually. So that was the first time I went to Toys R Us. I literally, that's my first Toys R Us experience, and they had the complete mob.
Yeah, the full box. Yeah,
all of them. They can form the mighty Devastator in my house. This is magic. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, Transformers was a thing, and I missed it. I something happened. I lost them, man. I had all those things. I think the most I had was that, the Stunticons, obviously Optimus Prime, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I missed not having that stuff. All that stuff got lost over the years.
Oh,
yeah. I wanted a Castle Grayskull, never got that.
Yep, me too.
But I also did a dumb thing because I don't know if you guys you loan something to someone as a kid and you never see it again.
Yep.
I had the entire. I don't know. Luke and Joe might not remember these, but you guys probably do. The entire Silverhawks collection.
Oh yeah.
What?
I had all the Silverhawks, and I loaned them to a guy to borrow. Like I think maybe the one yellow Voltron lion to play with over a weekend.
You needed that leg.
And
that was sort of Silverhawks.
Kid left the school. Never saw him again. And I was like, Jesus Christ, man! Like that was it. So
my
Silverhawks, it never took off like Thundercats did, but Silverhawks were pretty cool though at the time. That was like. So, but yeah, man, that one hurt. But one of the things I did to afford something else, like we said, you go back. There was a time where we did things to get the next thing. That's gamers, you want to be included. So I had my N64, and I had like a tremendous collection of games. Like I had like all the gold cartridges for the Zeldas. I had GoldenEye. I had so many different games in there, and I sold them all on eBay.
Yeah,
thinking don't know why I just did because I had FOMO. I was like, I gotta get this. I don't even remember what it was that I was trying to get.
Yeah.
And I think back because I would love to have all that. I'm trying to go back and get a lot of it. And looking at the prices on some of it, I'm just like, that's what makes it hurt more.
Yeah.
Is when you go to look up the price.
Don't do that. It hurts.
Yeah. Like the Rob the Robot. I had that from the original NES. Now, this one wasn't my fault. But I was sitting at work, an old job I had, and I said, it'd be really cool to put on the desk my Rob the Robot. I'll put him on the desk. It'll be cool. Come to Mom's. I'm like, looking for Rob the Robot. Like, I'm like, you remember that? She's like, oh, years ago, I put that in the stack for Goodwill. She's like, I didn't know you wanted to. I'm like, which Goodwill? You trying to track it down? Like, there's so many in the area too. And I'm like, oh, geez, man. So that's gone. I'm just like,
it's funny, real quick. I know
look at the price of those.
You mentioned Castle Grayskull, and this is a true story. So my parents split when I was younger. I lived with my mom. We had no money. And she couldn't afford to get me a Castle Grayskull. And she used to try and do whatever she could to kind of entertain me and make me happy, right? She literally, I'm not joking, she literally cut out and drew on a box of cardboard to make me my own castle for my He-Man figures that I still have.
Wow.
And at the time, I was like, well, this isn't Castle Grayskull. Like
right.
now you look back on it and you're like, my mom is awesome.
My mom took a picture of a Power Rangers poster for me because we were struggling. Like, I never owned a single Power Ranger Zord that like forever, ever, except for a Falcon Zord. Somehow we managed to pull that one off. But my mama took a picture of a poster at the store for me so that when we got it developed, because you got to burn through film at the time, right? When we got it, I could have a Power Ranger picture. And my grandparents went to every McDonald's in an area around the Power Rangers movie time so I could have a full collection of those versions of the Zords. That like you at the time, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Thank you guys. Adult me is like tearing up at the effort that they put through. I know exactly what you mean. And
awesome,
like that is a special memory. Yeah.
I want to share that too. Like, because I'm the same as Zane's. Like, my parents divorced when I was like a couple of weeks old. And mom is like, she couldn't get everything, but she got the things that mattered. She knew I like gaming. So I had an Atari 2600. I had the NES. It may not have been there on Christmas or like when they first came out, because these things were hard to find, but she made it happen. So I had the full NES with the Rob, like I mentioned. I had the Genesis. And I remember a few years back, and you guys probably remember this too, when Colin Moriarty did an article on IGN where he did the cost of inflation versus what consoles were back then. I'm sitting there reading that article, and I'm not even kidding. I'm sitting at my desk crying. Because I'm like, Jesus Christ, a single mom made this happen. She probably went into major debt doing it. Because that's just how you just did what you had to do for your kid. And I just remember picking up the phone and calling. And I just said, thank you. And she's like, well, thank you for it. I'm saying, I'm looking at this article and I'm seeing how much this stuff costs and you made it happen. And all I can think is a punk kid. I got it. Oh, I'm happy. I'm running off. Not realizing
the impact,
what else may have been sacrificed for that happiness, but she made it happen. It's beautiful.
DJ, awesome. 3 weeks ago, Ains, I was on one-on-one. Industry perspective, I mean?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
That was the first podcast my mom has watched of me, probably in ever. I put it on Facebook, I think, because my mom uses Facebook, and she called me 10 minutes into that crying. 10 minutes into that crying. I got to have that memory because of you, Ains, but that was cool.
Shout out to mom.
Shout out to moms, man. Same thing. Mama Cog, man. She dealt with so much. She dealt with crazy, wild kids. The South Bronx making all type of noise, hooting and hollering, and just crazy. This mad. Could you imagine, like, a small bedroom, like apartment, like it's like 13 kids and passing the controller and going. Then we're carrying it from inside to outside. Yeah, I beat you, and hey, like it was just this nonstop thing. But to her to have the discernment to say, you know what? I know what he's doing and he's here. And he's not getting into trouble and he's not doing anything crazy, because it was rough. So salute to her, because I remember when we did IOP, and I'm like, I need you to see it, because she knows King. She knows. So these, I grew up with them. So she's like, oh my God. Like she watches. She watched her the King. I was like, yo, that was so dope. So she's like, oh my God. She's calling us out by real name. He's so older now. Look at him. kind of, because they remember, like, these rambunctious kids now older and mature and doing this podcast. So she was very proud of it. And I told the rest of the guys that she watched it.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My dad still has no idea what's going on up here.
Yeah. No, I had and one of my aunts told me that some years ago. She said, I know, like, you and your cousins used to get together, and she said, and I used to, she'd order us food and we'd like hang out or whatever. And she said, I love those days. She said, because I knew where you guys were. Same thing, like you said, college. She was like, I didn't mind doing that. She said, it was beautiful. Like, I missed, like you coming over like right after like school, after work, and you guys would just hang out all night and and stuff like that. She goes, but I knew where you were, and I knew you guys were safe, and I knew this and that. Yeah,
same thing. South Mom used to call my mom all the time. Oh, wait, we don't know where he's at. Oh, he's over there. They played the game, right? Okay,
yeah. It was one of those playing that Nintendo. Yeah. Even though you're saying like everything was Nintendo.
Facts.
Yeah, Fawn's in the chat with a good comment here. Fawns, what's up, brother? Struggles are real. As a kid, you just don't know at the time any of it. Yeah, I never saw myself as poor until I got to be an adult and look back. We can appreciate the stuff as adults. 100%, man.
100%.
And it's, I don't know about, we're going down we're way off of gaming at this point a little bit, but I was just going to say, I don't know about you guys who have kids, but for me, I look at what my son upstairs is going to be 16 this year now. He's my youngest. Yeah, I'm old. But like I know the experience he's had through his life and some great moments and times and friends and all that stuff, right? He doesn't know any struggle. He's never had any struggle about, and I don't spoil him. I'm not big on that because of how I grew up, but he doesn't know any struggle. He's never been in a real fight. He's never had, I asked him last year at school, do you ever see a fight? Have you ever seen a fight, like a real fight? No. Have you ever, do people kind of get on each other and really kind of, are there issues you have to deal with walking down to school or walking down a hallway? No. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just
we're gonna learn today.
It's a different. It's just so different. Like I don't know, about you guys. Like it's just a very different era now. Yeah. At least from my perspective, which is limited.
Yeah, my parents really told it to us straight when we were younger. I knew what position we were in, so I knew I was very lucky when we got certain things. And look, I would still throw temper tantrums. I was not the perfect kid or whatever, but we had at least an understanding that hey, they tell it to us hey, listen, budget's tight, and there's an understanding to that. I think that I was able to get at as a young kid. So everything that I got, I appreciated the hell out of it. And it wasn't until later on in life that we'd start moving things in buckets or tossing things in recycling or Goodwill or whatever have you. It was always holy shit, I knew my dad worked his ass off because I barely saw him as a kid to get this N64. That's it's those are the reasons why I think we cherish him so much.
100%. Yeah. Damn.
Also, Luke sucks.
Got to bring it back.
Yeah, you had to bring it back.
Gotta bring it back.
I got one I want to ask, and we've kind of touched on it. Is you look back on gaming, right, and over all the years we've talked about now, do you have a crowning achievement? I think, Dan, this might have been one of yours. Crowning achievement, whether it be an actual achievement or trophy or whatever, or something you accomplished, tournament, something you did with friends or you pulled together, whatever, something that you look back on your gaming history and say, this is always going to be a very cool thing I look back on or really appreciate in my gaming life.
I think I'll go first because I feel like there are better answers after mine. But because of the way you said achievement, I thought about actual achievements that I've gotten. And the Redeemer achievement for 100%ing Red Dead 1 stands out. Lone wolfing on Legendary, Halos 4, Reach, and 5. I really actually enjoyed the lone wolf.
Let's do it, man. Sorry, Luke. Joe's interrupting you with room rearrangement.
Nice.
I love this.
Yeah, Bloodborne, a game so good, Sony made a sequel. No. Amy couldn't hear that. But then in real life, to kind of go to the happiness that now disposable income has afforded me, having what was once thrown away by GameStops, but was really hard to find for me, was the Halo 3 collector's edition helmet, and then the Halo Reach statue, and having the pops and stuff, collecting Halo 5 stuff, and then having just getting to walk upstairs and see that. I got one over there, but I didn't have it at the time. Right
somewhere.
To have the Xbox One X Scorpio edition and then the Gears 5 special edition be on a shelf, I didn't have to trade those in. That's the first time that's ever happened, and that was a year ago. 2 years, first time that's ever happened. So I guess the feeling of being able to put something on display is another actual achievement.
That's fair. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that. This is a good one from Kevin. He said, I know this was a huge one for people as an actual achievement, again, like you're talking about, in terms of games beating through the fire and flames on expert the first time.
Ooh.
I remember people like whoever could do that on, was it Guitar Hero or Rock Band? It was one of them. But whoever could do that, that was a huge thing at the time, I remember.
Yeah. For me, it's a couple. I mean, competitively, I know, Ansby, you talked about the Tekken tournaments, winning tournaments, going in New York City, Chinatown Fair, where the Korean scene was intense. This is like pre-esports era, and just playing the best of the best and learning. It was literally like a karate flick. You go to the dojo at home, you're training up, and then you put your skills to the test against some of the best players in the space. So Tekken 3 was like prime time for that, and just being your boy had a run, man. Your boy was dominant. That was a game that I used to run through the click. We would do sweats where it was like we'd face each other. Me, Kigsoff, Kaibots was a beast at that, and
I
like
remember you telling me,
it was literally you fight until one person had a 10-win advantage over the other person. And it was nonsense. It could go all night. It was the battle of attrition, you know what I'm saying? And just dominance and learning and counter styles and all that stuff. So the Tekken era for me definitely was special. Man, it's so many. As far as like achievements, I remember the Call of Duty campaign era when veteran mode was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And beat the game on veteran.
Yeah, Modern Warfare.
Oh my God, Modern Warfare. So what it became was I had to learn to like kind of cheat the game because you would realize these enemies are not going to stop coming. And I had to like kind of force my way to certain checkpoints to get to. It was brutal, man. But I remember getting veteran achievements and that 1,000 gamer score in a game, and you're just like, you know what I'm saying? You felt that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
like Mile High Club on that's one of the best known achievements too on Modern Warfare.
Man,
Yes, bro.
Yeah, I never got that.
So let me talk about the game of the last generation because it just gets.
No, you already talked about Red Dead 2.
Oh boy, no, not games I fell asleep to. Let's talk about Bloodborne here.
Doesn't that take place in a dream?
Let's go.
It's the most beautiful dream you've ever done have.
Let's go,
Luke would like to make jokes. Well, Crackdown got sequels. Well, Crackdown was held up by Halo demos, right? That's why people bought the goddamn game in the first place. Anyway, so Bloodborne for me is. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, thank you.
You know Fon's gonna run.
I know Fon's in the house with us.
Also, Joe will die this year when Bloodborne 2 is announced. He will die.
I will. I think about that very often. I'm like, when do we see it? We will see it. It has to happen. Am I going to cry? Am I going to shout? Am I going to scream? Am I going to get up? What noises am I gonna make? What's
you better get a life
reaction?
alert.
Yes. I will have to. I will have a heart attack.
I'll cry for Bloodborne 60 frames per second.
Right? Yeah, this player, anything. Hold out hope. Yeah. Bloodborne 2, Bloodborne is my favorite platinum. One of my favorite games for so many reasons. And when I finally got the platinum after beating it, God knows how many times, there was a sense of completion there. Yeah. Now I still need to do the Old Hunters DLC. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I have 100% of the whole thing. I'm waiting for that 60 FPS mode to do that. It's gonna happen. You just gotta have faith.
Yeah.
So Bloodborne is the achievement for me as a gamer. 110%.
So we talked about selling stuff a little while ago. This is not a joke. I just sold like 5 months ago the Bloodborne and Old Hunter's guides, the collector's guides, because the Old Hunter's guide, no joke, goes for almost $300.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because they didn't make many of them, and I guess Bloodborne fans are rabid, so they I was like, I don't need that.
Give us what we want. We get comics, we get all these statues, we get all this merch for Bloodborne. Sony just likes to tease us because they're they hate us so much.
Want it, so we're not going to do it.
Exactly.
By the way, Danos is my crowning achievement, rank 50 MLG playlist Halo 3. So for those of you who don't know, that's a gaming achievement right there.
That is
level.
That is not easy to do.
Yeah. I'll go real quick. I think, for achievement platinum for me would be the Sekiro platinum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you really like that game?
I really did like Sekiro. I remember reading your review on it. I had a lot of the same issues that you did, but I think ultimately in the end, I really did enjoy it. There are definitely some things I think annoyed the hell out of me, but I was kind of okay with it because it was so different than everything else
That's fair.
that they did.
Yeah.
But I was like really on with you. Like, I'm not liking this part of this, and this. But what I ended up liking is the fact that the game pushed me to a point to where it almost broke me. I remember DMing Sam and Nick, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to get this platinum. And it was the second fight with Owlfather.
Okay.
You're fighting him in Lady Butterfly's like lair.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, it took me, I was on him. I think I beat Sword Saint faster than I beat him. I don't know what it was. And you know how hard that Sword Saint battle was at the end, right?
Yeah.
But whatever it was just, maybe it was the area. I don't know what it was. And I'm sure other people will probably jump in and say, oh, he was so easy. Because I love when people do that online. Yeah. But in that fight, I was like, it's like 8 hours I'm fighting him to the point where you know how you do with those games. I put it down and I DM Sam and Nick. And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to do it. And I'm not the kind of person that I will go to bed mad.
Yes.
Like this fucking game, son of a big game. Like, what am I not doing? And I'm just like, I keep at it. Then the next day I got up. The next day I got up and I got him.
Yeah,
nice.
And that happens a lot for whatever reason, man. You just gotta refocus, right? It just like centers you.
But he was working me. I was like, good Lord, man, what is you know? And then it was that thing where you get him. I had him down to like the last, and it was like, and I got over zealous, and I did the wrong. I'm like, you know what, I'm done. But I finally got the platinum in that, and I was like, you know what? It didn't feel as good as the Bloodborne platinum, but it felt good for the fact that I did it. Yeah. I didn't let the game beat me because it would have still been haunting me if I just put it down and never went back to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did it. I earned it. We're good. I'm never going back. Actually, no, I probably will play through it again. Now I just got the 60 frames per second, but I don't have to worry about the platinum portion of it again.
Yeah. There's some weird thing about From Software games. You said getting overzealous is like you overcome that initial wall, and then all it takes is that one moment of arrogance to where you think I can get an extra hit in right here. And you swing, and as soon as you hit that button and swing, you said, "Oh, I done fucked up."
Okay,
and then, here it comes. You get killed, and you're like, "Ah,
gotta be greedy."
Damn it!
Yeah, mine aren't like you guys are like, oh, Bloodborne, Sekiro, all these games that are super difficult. I'm over here like, I got Pirate Legend and Sea of Thieves. Now I want to say that was a grind. It was a grind. I don't do what these people do nowadays where it takes them like 24 hours.
You did that like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was this whole new Sea of Thieves community can eat a dick. Okay, I mean, I can't even. When that game launched, this is a small rant. Alpha, beta, it was a different kind of community. Now it's just I don't want to do the work. So I'm just going to steal from everybody. I understand it's a thieving game. I totally get
Joe,
that.
What's the title of the game?
I understand that.
I think it's called Sea of Thieves. Oh, shit.
What is it not, Joe? What is it not?
Earn it.
Sea of Friends.
You have to earn it.
I'm not going to
Sea of Friends.
I mean, listen, if you want to go and like just, like half of these people that haven't even picked up a damn shovel in the game, they just run around and, so I've got to the point now where I see people start chasing me. Like I will just run, and I do that not because I don't want to fight them, but because it's just going to waste their time. Like I had one guy follow me for 3 hours, and he couldn't figure it out. Right? And I was just like, "Yeah, go ahead. I have nothing better to do. I've got a bag of peanut M&Ms sitting next to me and a Diet Mountain Dew. Let's go."
Hey, honest to God, we met your cousin the other day on the seas, and he would not leave us alone. He ruined our whole voyage, but you know what? It's not the Sea of Friends.
He's not. Anyway, so I feel like I earned that, and then this is stupid, but back what the hell was that? Mirror's Edge. I played through that game, didn't use the gun. That was like for at the time, and given my declining skills at the time, this was like humongous for me. Like I put it on, it was like the hard level, whatever it was, and I did the whole thing without ever shooting the gun, which was like a big thing back then. But now I look back on it and like, yeah, like if I were like 10 years younger at that time, it probably wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But since I have no, my hand-eye coordination is garbage, and my hands shake now. So welcome to 45. This is stupid, but it's that's. I think my first 1,000 out of 1,000 was an Assassin's Creed game.
Nice.
My first platinum, I think, was Spider-Man. So I don't really chase after the achievements. It's those little ones like that are, that kind of mean more to me because I know where I'm at, skill wise. I know that there's, no chance of me ever probably doing that again. If I went back to it now, it would be a disaster. So,
yeah, I think I've told this story before, but it's going way back compared to you guys. So well before achievements, but on Sega Genesis, you have Ghouls and Ghosts. It launched.
Oh God, yes.
So Ghouls and Ghosts is a hard game.
Demon Souls. Oh yeah, one sitting, one quarter. If you ain't in,
So Ghouls and Ghosts, if Cog, the game, you know how hard it is, right? So when you beat that game, and I think Dan's heard this before, but you beat that game, you get an ending with the princess, and it says, but you didn't fully do it because you need a special weapon. So then you start the game over again with a different weapon, right? And you have to play through the whole game again with that weapon. But remember that in Ghouls and Ghosts, weapons drop from enemies all over the level, right? Yeah. If you touch one of them or get knocked into one of them or somehow jump wrong and land on one of them, you get that other weapon, and then you can't complete it with the one you got for beating the game the first time. So you have to beat the whole game. Then you have to get the weapon. Then you have to beat the whole game again without ever touching a different weapon or accidentally touching it. Yes. And I did that when I was a kid. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm never going to forget doing this. Because, again, we were talking about I had no other games. So I just played Ghouls and Ghosts every day. And I'm all right, I'm going to try and do this.
Wow.
Yeah. So that one's going way back. But there's other ones I beat when Master Chief Collection came out, even though it was broken as hell. Me and a good buddy played Legendary through every game and got the achievements getting through Library and Halo CE without dying, which don't ever attempt that, please. That single achievement I think took us 8 hours. It's just unbelievable.
I remember what Chet talked about in the super chat. I know about Gay Rest. That's crazy.
A shooter, isn't it?
That was hardcore. Yeah.
I hate the Library so much. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was reliving that.
Perfect game of Pitfall 2 on Atari. Nice, chat. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat, man. Appreciate
that game was it was not only was difficult, it was graphically amazing, an 8 megabit cartridge, if I remember, shooter. But what was cool about it was you had this little satellite kind of thing that attached your ship. You could take the enemy's weapons and use them against you. That was a very unique concept. I remember that game. That's in the cut.
Damn.
Very good shooter.
No one wants to talk about how Dan's eating that cashew. It's almost
I was reading through the comments when it gets up. Dan's finding another snack. Good Lord.
I can unmute this. We can have that. What's going on the whole time?
Hey, if we're doing that, I got some Raisin Bran to get.
Oh, shit.
No. Guys, it has been real. I don't have anything else I need to chat on. We've been talking for a while, and it's been a lot of fun for real. So
absolutely.
If you got anything else you want to shout out, let's go around the horn and call it out. Luke, I'm going to start with you, man. Where can people find you? Anything else you want to shout out before we head out?
Xbox Expansion Pass on all your podcast services, youtube.com/Xbox Expansion Pass, and Cast Co-op, of course, with Ains and Joe. You can find me on Twitter at Insipid Ghost. And honestly, really and truly, EJ, Cog, Dan, and Ains, it's been a pleasure to podcast with you guys. And thank you for having me on for 150. I appreciate it. Joe, text your mom back. She's
honestly, you should see some of the replies your mom sends me. It's wild. Betsy, or Fire Rose that I call her.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Shout out to Falcon and Winter Soldier. Best episode of the series this week.
That's what I heard.
So good.
I got to get to it tonight, but I heard it was fantastic.
So good.
I like the episode before, so I got to catch up this week.
Yeah.
This week got me. And in a couple ways, it got me. It was good.
Well,
all right.
Sucks still.
Eric, man, where can people find you? What have you been up to?
You can find me on Twitter, EC Jaxson with an X, and Brat Podcast Wednesday nights at 9:00, and the Gaming Perspective Tuesday nights at 8:00. And other than that, just want to say thanks again, Ains, for having me. 150, congratulations.
Thank you.
And like everybody on this panel, you guys are the best. I love doing this thing with you guys and having you guys in community to counterbalance all these other knuckleheads, just trying to bring it down even more.
Yep.
But you guys are the best, man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Joe, what's happening,
Let me
man?
tell you.
Put the phone
You're
down.
still-
Stop talking to Luke's mom. Where are you at?
Just wait. I'm sorry. 1 sec. Honey, I'll be there in a sec. I know. Anyway, these knuckleheads are working overtime to ruin the passion and love that is gaming. It seems like the past few weeks.
PlayStation is dead. If you didn't hear,
Apparently,
All
they're
caps.
so all caps. You can find me over at the Trophy Room, a PlayStation show, wherever you find your podcast services, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. You can find us there. If there isn't a feed that we're on, let us know. We'll change that ASAP. You can find
Unless
the
it's
video
Apple.
version.
then maybe
I was
not.
gonna say- you can find the video version on the Trophy Room YouTube channel as well. It's there where me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest and the greatest in all things PlayStation each and every Thursday. Well, without all that fanboy stuff. And yeah, you can find me and Ains and Luke on Cast Co-op, which has been so much fun, though Luke drags us down so much. It's awesome to see us there. So, yeah. And when is that Apple feed coming up? Apple? Come on, Tim Apple. What's going on over there?
Somebody asked me the other day, Ains,
Please.
they're like, hey, what's y'all's RSS feed? I was like, do we have an RSS feed, Joe? I don't know. Cast Co-op is a beautiful disaster, and I love it.
Yeah, I love it so much.
Yes,
I love
we
it
do.
so much.
Just Apple won't take it for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cog.
There you go.
Yo, man.
You're up, man.
Things, man. 150, brother. You made it. This is good to see. Like EJ said, just, positive group, positivity. And I just love what you represent. I've always told you that, with Season Gaming, we look up to you guys as well, just as a standard of it's just going back to the essence of what game is about. So keep doing what you're doing, man. You are needed in the community. Tremendous respect for you. When you call me, I'll most likely there if I ain't busy. So yeah, man, you already know me at Lord Cognito on Twitter. I'm on podcast on Sunday. Every Sunday is the Lord's Day. Check us out. We will have a big one this weekend. We will have Obsidian in the realm. So check it out. Yeah, we have the game director of the Outer Worlds as well as the narrative designer for Murder on Eridanos DLC.
Damn.
So, it's a big one. Check
Look
us
at you
out, man.
guys.
We're trying, brother. We're trying to work, brother.
Doing it, not trying. You're doing it. I love it.
Me and you've been on the floor together in the trenches at the conventions, so what time it is, and also obviously Luke and everybody, you know what I'm saying? So salute, come show some love. We're gonna talk gaming more on the narrative side, how games are developed narratively, stories and worlds are built. So check that out. If you want your looter shooter stuff, man, me and my brother Ibance has been doing it for a minute. So you want to know what's going on with that inventory wiping Outriders, you can hear me complain. And you want to know what's going on with Destiny and Bungie's new multiplayer focused IP, or they kind of leak. Check that out. And yeah, man, lordsofgaming.net, the rest of the stuff. But Ains, man, salute, Dan, salute. You guys have been putting it down for a while, and it's good to see you guys get your roses while you can smell them. So we got to give it up to you guys, man. So,
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Dan, anything to add?
Thanks for being here for 150 damn episodes, guys. I mean, this is crazy, and I appreciate all you guys coming on. It's awesome. It was a really good show, like a really good. It was nice to just kind of bullshit, and just talk about stuff. And talk about the hobby we love, but without having to have a critical eye necessarily for a week. And so that's awesome. So I appreciate all you guys coming out. As far as anything else, just check out Season Gaming, man. But if you're here, you're probably already doing that. So and check out all these other great podcasts. You guys, there's no shortage for sure. So and these guys, all four of them are on some wonderful shows, and
that's why they're here.
Showing some love. That's right, man. Yeah. We're very picky.
we actually are.
I like that. I like that.
It's bad. No, thank you so much, guys, for coming on. It's been a lot of fun. Like Dan said, we kind of did exactly what I wanted to do, which was just chat. because I miss those days of just sitting around with old school gamers and just chatting, man. So it's fun. Chat, you guys have been great, man. Thank you so much for coming out, all you regulars, along with some new faces today. Appreciate that. I just wanted to say too, I forgot to shout out last week if you're listening to this. So our listeners, audio listeners, have been really, really high lately for some reason. I don't know why. The same two dudes, same people coming around. So, but really appreciate that. So if you are listening to this, thank you very much. And just appreciate all the support, man. So special shout out to Diego. I know he's going to catch this later. I don't think he could come by during the day, but Diego rocking our new logo, our new intro, taking care of us on the Cast Co-op side a little bit too. And I mean, there's just a lot in the works that he's always helping us with. So if you ever need graphic design or anything of that nature, you know where to find him. Otherwise, please check all these guys out too. All their information and shows, you already know them, but in case you don't, it'll be in the description, so you'll find them. But thank you again, everyone. Really appreciate everyone coming out. It's been a blast, and we will see you next Saturday. Peace.